is the city at the center of the world, a metropolis that is the crown jewel of the inner sea. It is the year of the Radiant Festival, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Plenty of ne'er-do-wells find themselves using the chaos of the festival for their own gain. To guard Absalom from danger, 5 stand forward to protect the innocent. Asbet Lindelin, an oracle with the smell of battle following her, ever ready to battle the forces that upset the city. Whose staunch skills with a blade are matched only by her sonorous arcane invocations. Rivalor Silvereye, ex-Greycloak detective with an eye for both the details and a pretty face. Xalix Willowheart, a militant ranger whose origin is even more dark and mysterious than her past. And last, but not least, the newbie to the team, Arena Mistwalker. They are the few who will give everything for everyone. They are the agents of Edgewatch.
Right, we're all here, aren't we? Is that good? We're all good?
Dear.
Say hello, friends.
Hello, friend.
Hello, friends. Don't forget to slap like now.
For fuck's sake.
Ring the bell!
Guys!
Not even a minute or two in, we're already starting with it.
Guys, calm down. I didn't need a call to action every 2 seconds.
What are you doing with your life if you haven't liked and subscribed?
We need to have a talk about this, guys. You need to calm down. I feel very awkward about saying it.
Well,
That's why you should let us say it.
Oh, God.
And in a midstream break where we spend 5 minutes going over that, and then at the end of the session thing, we can do it once more. Sounds balanced to me.
Yes, so currently we're a person down because our Puku is just getting ready to join us on the magnificent Lyra, and the fantastic Miss Lomo has to, unfortunately not be with us today as they are currently at work, so Arena will be getting played by myself, and she'll generally just be tagging along in the background, keeping herself to herself and having a good time. So I will do a brief recap for you fantastic fellows. The group delving forward towards a dungeon in an attempt to get towards a decadent party where they hope to meet with Mr. Hoff, a man who seems to understand recruitment and placing people up around the city, with a potential lead towards where the Minkayan might have vanished to. As a result, your group entered into a mausoleum through a sarcophagus. You climbed down, you discovered a room pristinely clean, and identified that yes, there was probably something heckin' spoopy in the room. So you had a investigation and were attacked by a gelatinous cube, which through vigor and might and energy you managed to slay. Advancing forwards after discussions regarding loot, you encountered some spooky ghouls, which, well, deciding to forsake any pretense of stealth, you charged at, smashing apart and dealing a plethora of death blows upon before encountering a pair of lovely rat folk called Keka and Gref. Those fine fellows had been doing some sort of trade down here with lemons, and after a brief discussion, you decided that it would probably be best to just let them go about their way. You shifted a boulder aside and you headed onwards, where you met a pair of oddly dressed men who you spoke no mutual languages with until someone threw some dwarfish at them. At which point, you parted ways with them, letting them go about whatever nefarious business they might have planned. The group, but at the door of where you'd planned to get to, had a brief discussion where you decided to return to deal with the Vargul menace that you'd been alerted of. Heading down, you engaged in combat after some brief trips and stumbling, encountering the two flying bat-ear-winged creatures with the tentacles and their long, grotesque, slimy tongues, paralyzing two of your companions immediately and besetting upon Asbet with a ruthless set of attacks. They managed to incapacitate two people to potentially infect them with the Vargul disease before finally being defeated. Asbet, brought back from the brink of death, stands covered in gore and viscera, coughing up green phlegm that should not rightly be inside of her body, whilst Lyra herself has the same issue of globs of green goo pouring out from the edges of her mouth. The other three seeming relatively fine, apart from Rivalor having a sizable chunk missing on his cheek that he bandaged up and repaired a bit, but it doesn't look as nice as you would really hope any sort of wound would look. So, I will unpause, and my fine Fantastic Four can do whatever heroic deeds are required of them. Also, hello, Arpuku. How was your
Hello.
I'm tired. Sorry for oversleeping.
It happens. It happens.
It's fine, Arpuku. Alright, so what are my adventurers up to?
Okay. So, Lyra took an anti-plague, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Asbet, do you have one?
Let me check, but first, just let me get this out of my mouth. And I go and retch a bit, just trying to clear my system as much as possible, as unpleasant as it might be, and then clear my mouth afterwards a bit, somewhat, with the water skin that I have, or rather the water that's inside it.
You'd feel much better getting rid of some of the phlegmy green gooness.
Alright, that's better. No, if I recall, yes, this one should just be an antidote. I don't think it's appropriate for this. It doesn't seem like a poison, at least.
I do believe you guys worked out last time that it is actually a disease. No, there is no poison-related afflictions currently going on.
Gotcha. That's why I said anti-plague. You can have mine if you'd like.
Gladly.
All right. Open my character sheet.
I think you can drag and drop, can't you? Into the armory?
I think.
Yeah, you can probably like drag and drop it into the armory, and then back. One of you can like just pull it from there, or even party loot is fine.
Or
Either
you could simply remove it from your inventory, as I just use it straight up the moment you give it to me.
That's a good point too.
This is true. This is true.
Imagine being overly complicated about a very simple thing.
Imagine.
Couldn't possibly be me.
Couldn't possibly. All right.
Extra, like we do. Lyra, Asbet, are you two okay?
Probably. Hopefully. I trust this. I think so.
I'm a lot better knowing that these things won't make it to the surface. Ugh.
Indeed. Quite so.
Well, now that we've done our job as town guards,
Rivalor has her face.
it'll be fine. Lovers love scars, right?
Should we go back, do you think, and get you guys checked out? Or should we go forward with what we were doing before?
I think it's probably best to proceed. I can patch myself up somewhat more. Do you have any... do you remember at all how long it's been since the last time Asbit had treat wounds used on her?
I think the last time was after the fight with the ghouls, was it not?
Probably,
No.
which would have been... Or?
Oh yeah, the ghouls, yeah. Not the Varghouls.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that would be no more than 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah,
Well.
I mean, of course, in real life it was a week ago, but you guys scrapped with the ghouls up above. You chat with the rats. You headed down. Brief chat with the creepy boys. You went to a door, and then you came down to the Varghouls. Couldn't be more than 10 minutes. So you'd be roughly 40 more minutes until she'd be able to be patched up again.
Via mundane means. Gotcha.
All right.
We probably don't want to extend this evening so much. I'll just heal myself briefly for the time being, and then we can proceed.
You might have also noticed there is quite a bit of green and red blood covering most of your clothes.
Oh yes, I would definitely
alongside
get
Aspet's clothes being burned through in some places.
I'd like to use prestidigitation to try and clean off the majority of our clothes, even if it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. How long does a cast of prestidigitation take?
1 action.
Excellent.
I believe it can clear... I think it's like a foot's distance of dirty material.
Okay, so you'd
One bulk worth. It can affect an object of 1 bulk with 10 rounds of conversation, and a larger object with a minute.
Okay, so I guess you would spend 2, maybe 3 minutes on each person. That sounds reasonable?
Yeah.
So, who
And
actually got
I would-
covered up in blood? Like, I'd say everyone who was close to the fight, so our main 3 at the front, so let's just say 10 minutes pass.
That's good.
What happens? I'll heal myself with the first spell used so far, and also regain refocus as best I can.
Let me just check something quickly. I just need to double check the note I made and the saving throw you got, because I don't think that would heal you. Because Oh yes.
Oh no, you're
yes,
right.
because the Varghul bites cannot be healed by magical means. You need to actually be healed with proper medicine or be deplagued.
Would we have known that? That's not something
I
we
think it
determined,
was
is
mentioned
it?
last session that was a thing. So yeah, your characters are aware that magical
Okay,
healing
then
won't work.
yes,
So I won't
you-
make you waste a spell. Don't worry,
Yeah.
my friend.
But she took the anti-plague, so
That just gives
Would
you
that-
a bonus to rolls to resist the plague. Let me double check what the rules on Varghul Plague is. They're such a disgusting creature. Varghul. Their bite. Oh, you can make a spellcasting check to try and overcome the bite, their poison.
That's a good point. I think I will actually. So my spellcasting is a +8.
Mm-hmm.
A 15?
Unfortunately, that would not be sufficient.
All right.
Just
Is,
having a look through.
Is Lyra injured at all? For Paco?
Nope.
No, she was just paralyzed and
Smooched on.
yes.
Oh, Asbit, that thing, it kissed you in the face. Are you all right?
I will be, hopefully.
Okay.
I trust I'll be able to get out of this. That was unpleasant. I imagine it was. I'm thankful I don't quite recall it myself.
It looked unpleasant.
You were kind of out, so, I would have told you to get a room, but...
I would ask that you don't leave me alone in a room with one of these things at any point in time.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not a room by yourself. Oh.
Perhaps, yes, before we return, should we have a quick glance around here? Perhaps also the room where that pair had been hiding before. There might be something of interest as simply while we're passing by it. If we do go back that way instead of this here.
Quite possibly.
We'll just check it out.
So as you're checking around this area, I can give you the description from before. So the ceiling in this part of the cavern soars up almost 20 feet, with tunnel exits to the north and the east. To the southwest, near the ruins of a sunken building, a third passage was clearly once walled shut with white bricks, but the bricks have been removed from the middle to create a narrow pathway. A small bundle of dark rags lies in the centre of the floor near the mangled corpse of what looks like a fiendish severed head with bat wing. Right, yes, there's a pile of bits of pen. I can draw that on here.
Over there.
Imagine I've just drawn something really good looking, and it looks exactly like a mangled. And
I don't need my
you'll know
imagination.
exactly. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Yes. It looks perfect, doesn't it?
Can we
Beautiful.
inspect it and see what?
Yep. So the black cloth looks to be one of the similar garb to the assassins that you saw earlier. So within their body is 3 daggers. If you check them, each is coated with a black poison upon it.
Black poison?
Yes, the rest of what they have is more or less just standard clothes. Nothing overly fancy. A mask that seems to have prevented them from getting too much of a heckin' smooch.
John, but they're dead?
Yes, they are dead. Looks like they were being eaten by the Vargul. Those two transformed. Unfortunate.
So she would look at the daggers, and one of them with the black poison, she would hold up and she'd be like, "Hey, does this look like that stuff?"
I think it might be worth taking back to Mama Mary.
All right, I would like try and find like maybe a piece of cloth on this guy's face. I would pull it off.
Yeah.
And wrap the dagger in it and put it away in my bag.
No problem. I, for some reason, cannot see where the... Oh, there it is. I completely lost the button for adding the daggers to the loot, but I found it now. Dagger 3 of. And I will put... Is there a way to add an unidentified item?
You should have a button to make things unidentified. But it would show up briefly as... so like to the right
okay,
where there's the
so-
trash can and stuff, there's
yeah.
like a circle with a
It
question mark.
looks like a dark question mark. Okay, because you guys haven't identified it. Nice. There we go. This. Tuck those in there for you. So you don't know what they are. I should say unidentified item. If our fine fellows in the audience could refrain from telling anyone what's actually in there. Right.
It
Also, if you guys
says
watch the
black
video
smear
afterwards...
poison,
Ah! Fuck!
but it doesn't say anything more. It only has the words black smear poison.
How do I hide that?
Did you click the?
Mystify.
Now it says unidentified item. Yeah.
Aha! You saw nothing. Refrain from peeking at the fine fellow behind the curtains.
Okay. Asbit, can I just stick these in your bag with the tower shield?
Certainly. I don't think they'll harm the shield.
Is there anything else that I find
Use it.
on the body of this person?
No, there would be nothing else that kind of stands out for you. They seem like they were lightly equipped for easy travel.
All right. You guys want to go back and look where the others of this guy's group were?
We may as well, and it takes us.
Might be a good idea.
It means that we spend less time near that lake there.
Also true.
Yeah, let's avoid the lake.
Ooh.
Whatever's in there
I was
that we.
here all along. I am Lomo. I mean, I am Arena.
Of course.
Well met.
I like tentacles.
Oh, do you now?
Me too.
I had a boyfriend that was like that.
Lads. Guys. Oh, goodness.
You started it.
Because her character has tentacle arms.
Oh right.
That's
Right.
true, yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't
That's
just
right.
randomly outing her character for liking hentai for no reason.
Was this where they were? Oh yeah, because this is where the stairs were. Right.
Yes,
I
they
believe
were
so.
hiding back there.
Is there anything interesting in this or the small triangular room below?
No, it has your standard wall-related affair tucked away. It mostly just seems like the same kind of ransacked and ruined ruins that you've come accustomed to slogging through in your escapades through the undercity.
Nothing of interest that we would see.
Yes.
Yeah, looks like it. Nothing with that's odd, I take it.
Nothing other than the floor looks a little cleaner than you'd expect.
Oh god, get out of here, get out of there!
Oh, wait, guys.
Run away!
Run away!
And we're just gonna be like, nope, we're going.
Nope. Let's go to the party.
I love that Asbet is just going to show up.
Yes.
Wounds all over
It's
her.
bleeding everywhere.
Well, we have used prestidigitation to get rid of blood and stuff, and I imagine even without treat wounds, we'd be able to like chuck
Yeah.
a
Conceal it.
bandage or something over it to at least
Is
conceal
there a way
it
to
somewhat.
stop you leaking blood?
I think I've already done it.
Then why are
I
you leaking?
Should
homie?
have maybe.
Oh wait, you actually going down there? All right, well now it's
No, I'm
now
not.
it's-
I'm just moving I'm just moving myself to see if I'm still leaving blood trails, and it doesn't look like I am.
Yeah, seems like you're all cleaned up. Yep. Oh my goodness, there's blood all over. Blood everywhere.
Might be someone else bleeding out.
Maybe. Nice.
It's not me, I'm only missing one hit point. Or wound, rather. Unless, is it me?
Oh my god, Revelor, you bleedy boy. Gordon Bennett.
Oh
You
my
look
god, I
like
think it is.
That is a place
What?
where you bleed.
That's definitely me.
So right, yeah, if you double right click your token, you bring up your token configuration. From there, if you go to the image tab, there's a part where it says violence level. The
Violence level.
the one you set it on, that's how much you end up bleeding. So if you put it to disabled, you don't leave blood trails. If you realize you're about to take a really heckin' hit, to steal a turn of phrase, you can like turn it up to Ogre or Draco Lich for that critical hit and then take the damage, and you end up super
Wait,
bloody
what
like
happens
my
if I
token
do?
here.
What happens if I do that? Not much. Oh my! Oh my!
Holy. Holy. What?
Did you set it to max?
No, just explodes wounds everywhere.
Revelor just explodes.
Oh my goodness! Like a JoJo character who got lightly punched.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness!
I'm going to take a step back here.
What?
Are you all right there, buddy?
It's only,
Squat.
it's only a flesh wound.
This is a cave, I guess.
Right, so you have approached the wrought iron door that you had found previously. It's iron banded wood set in a frame of white brick. Not quite completely thick enough to muffle the sounds of activities that are happening on the other side, and it doesn't seem like it's frequently used.
So I would adjust my dress, make sure I'm all straightened.
Yes, I'd adjust my my tuxedo and my top hat.
Likewise, as best I can.
And then I'd look around, make sure everybody's good, and then I would bang on the door.
Okay, you bang on the door. And you get no response.
Alright.
I assume
We
you
Is it locked?
Open.
the attempt to open the door and you find that it is locked.
What if I pull out my crowbar from my trusty dusty bag?
Oh, hold up. Can't anyone among us here pick locks? Before we go breaking the door completely.
I just
Listen,
awkwardly whistle because nope.
You guys are just gonna stand here and constantly get in my way while I'm trying to go through this door. Can anyone pick locks? And I look around.
Do we need thieves' tools for that?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can do it with
Shit.
improvised tools, but I think you get a reasonably decent negative.
I don't suppose I can devise a stratagem for that, can I?
Yeah, your stratagem you could devise would be to have brought pick tools and to have trained in thievery.
Right.
Retroactive.
Pull out my crowbar.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe we're doing this again.
And
Yeah,
shove.
what did I miss?
Not necessarily this specifically, but just our behavior so far has been perhaps out of the ordinary for
So
normal guards.
Partygoers.
I'll assist.
Imagine you're just like sat in the back room at a party listening to music, and four fucking blood-covered assholes like just smash the door open, storm inside, and they're like, "Yes, we are here to be inconspicuous."
No, that's what you call the goths.
Oh,
so what am I rolling here? Is it athletics or?
Yes, it would be an athletics check.
All right, I'll aid then in this. No one did answer after all.
Hey.
Okay, so you assist, granting Zalix a +2, so the pair of you get a pretty firm grip upon your crowbar, and the lock cracks.
Excellent.
All right. And then I put my crowbar away and try and open the door again.
You open the door. Now, unfortunately, I do not have a map for beyond the.
All right.
But as you get the door open, almost immediately you start to hear sounds from the other side coming through a bit more freely. As you see a well-tended to, really quite magnificent room with velvet walls, and the sound of decadence and fun from within starts to whisk up feelings of excitement amongst the group that you may actually be a little underdressed. As you get inside, you see people masked as angels, demons, and other extra-planar beings lounging around at doorways and between chambers, and you can easily enough start to slip inside and have a look around.
So I step in and bring Gungadin along with me, and
You should put Gungadin in your arms like you're stroking a cat, like a
villain.
like an evil, like a James Bond villain. Yes.
I'm holding Gungadin and I'm petting her across her carapace gently. And these are my kind of people.
There you go. I smooth myself out and schmooze on in. Trying to be as inconspicuous as possible.
Yeah, so you initially came into what is a hallway at the very back. I assume you guys closed the door behind yourselves.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Excellent. During your process of sneaking inside, it's a relatively easy affair. You can follow along to one of the main rooms, and as you enter this room, the walls of it are painted with an endless field of gravestones under a black sky. Open archways along the wall lead to numerous other rooms, and a tall, black-robed woman with long white hair and ash-coloured makeup perches on a spiral-marked headstone in the room centre, next to an oversized stone sarcophagus filled with dirt. The white-haired host, who seems to be cosplaying, you would suspect, as a... I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. A goddess herself, known as Erasma, will swan over to you with an excited look upon her face. And let me just show to players, I think. Can you all see
Yep.
that?
I can see. Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty good cosplay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And she asks quite loudly, "Alright now, honey babies, are you ready for some judgment?"
Yeah.
I bow. I doff my hat and say, "From the great from the divine Pharasma, of course."
Oh, darling, you should probably leave the hat on. You appear to be balding a bit up there. What's with the spider thing? You appear to be having a bit of an inconsistency on pets, darling. Your look's dressed to kill, but your spider's dressed to thrill.
Mm,
Do tell, what are you here for? Have a seat on my spire. Come over. Yes, it's all very nice to have you here. She's winking at you and waving her hand around and like trailing it along Asbet's arm with a playful glint upon her eyes.
so we
Can I
follow her.
make
we
a-
follow her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
While we do so, can I roll for genealogy lore to see if I recognize anything about her or possibly her ancestry or that of any others here? I imagine most of them are masked, so not a whole lot to do there. But
Yes, most of the
just an
people
attempt?
are masked, but give me a genealogy roll and we'll see how that goes.
let me actually switch this to blind. There we go.
So the woman is a halfling of some renown. You'd catch on from her demeanour that they are called Layla, and they have a reputation for being able to shift items quite well. And as you're getting more of an idea of her, she glances towards Lyra and goes, "Oh, lust is my favourite sin, but still a sin, and you are a very naughty thing. We could take your wicked ways to the abyss with all the succubus and incubi if you wish. It's a lovely day. Come, do sit on the spire, sit on the spire. There's much we can discuss, and I have things to tell newcomers adore about the house itself."
Would I notice anything with the "that's odd" feat?
Ooh, you notice
Anything in particular? Yeah.
You notice at the back there is actually someone being what looks to be buried alive in a sarcophagus full of dirt.
Oh.
Immediately grasps your attention. It doesn't seem like they're panicking or struggling. It seems like they're joking and laughing along, and the people around them are all in masks and having a whale of a time with the whole thing and laughing at the ridiculous display being portrayed before them.
So I'd be gently petting my spider as I sit down on the spire as she's indicated, and I would go, "So what can you tell me about these lovely festivities that we've stumbled upon?"
Oh, yes. So we have rooms full of challenges and games and fun for all. Do tell me, why are you here, though I get the impression you're here to talk to some big wigs. You seem the kind who've come here with intent.
Just came to have a good time, rub some elbows, grease some palms, maybe.
Oh, excellent. That's so fantastic to hear. This room's challenge is actually to, well, it's not particularly dangerous, but, you lie with the dead themselves. And she waves over to where someone is taking the challenge currently. He laughs happily and gives you all a big smile.
I presume that's where the person is being buried alive.
Yes.
I see. What is this room's? How does the room's challenge work, madam?
Oh, one just needs to hold their breath and they'll be fine. Other rooms have riddles, some have more fanciful games. They're all unique and based on some of the extra-planar locations. But I'm sure you'll work that out well enough as you go, darling.
This would be the negative plane, then?
Oh, how could you tell? Was it in my dress? I put so much effort in today, darling.
I can certainly see that.
Oh.
It is a fine representation of divine Pharasma.
Gorgeous.
Oh, well, you're all a fine-looking representation of... And she glances you all over. Misfits!
I chuckle along.
I do wonder.
Doing my best to laugh with her.
Oh, pardon, what was that? I couldn't hear you over the ginger elf laughed at my cracking jokes.
I'm simply rather intrigued now at what sort of riddles or challenges the Room of Law might have.
Oh, well, that would be
but I suppose we may get there.
Wouldn't it?
It would indeed.
He smiles and crosses one leg over the other, leaning on her open palm and just eyes Alex up and down and goes, "Ooh, bones, look at those. She must be one of Congress's flock off to Nirvana with you with those thick arms." And she traces a nail along the bicep of Alex before winking at her again.
Alex would just grin and shrug slightly.
Real quick, the name of the person, his last name is Hoff. What's his first name?
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yep.
Jeremy. Divine Pharasma, I do
That is
have one
I.
question.
Yes, darling.
This I do have a friend that I heard was going to be here. His name is shoot, I already forgot it.
German.
One Mr. Jerriman. Last name I believe Hoff. We don't really talk about his last name, but you know.
Oh, yes, he's fantastic. I knew you were here to see Bigwigs, darling, didn't I say? Didn't I say, indeed? Oh, it's so good to always be correct. Yes, he's very busy. You won't be able to talk to him.
Ah, I see.
It's by prior arrangement only. Not everyone just gets to waltz into the club and talk to the boss.
Understandable indeed. Could
Yes.
such an arrangement be made, however?
Let me think. It could possibly weeks away, maybe. He's a very busy man. Very busy. Where are you calling from? Where are you about? Who are you, fine fellows?
Well, from here and about, we are tourists, really, from... Well, I myself am
Minkai.
from the north.
Oh, Minkai. Had some of those ruffians drop by. Yes.
Unfortunately, a few of them have been causing trouble from the Dragonfly Pagoda. From what I'm aware, I believe German was offering lodging to some of them. I'm not particularly happy that he's providing accommodation to such crude neighbors.
Oh, I don't know. The last we heard was some I got some Minkayan goods in actually recently. Some of my recent stolen item batches came through. Not much personal effects. A few mason's tools, nothing too much, but I think the Nirvana room with Cass, he might know more, but not too certain about the details. And I guess the devil's always in the details, darling. That's why you look so sharp.
They always are.
Devil and everything.
Thank you for
Thank you. This
pointing
is a
us in that
lovely.
direction to begin with. I should also ask, unfortunately we've only heard some amount of Mr. Hoff. Would he be one to take interest in those who complete these various challenges?
Oh,
It does
no,
seem
not
set up in
usually.
that way.
Most of us just do them for fun. It's just games, my darling.
I see.
No.
Thrill.
Yes,
It
quite
does
so.
actually
And
sound-
usually just to impress the people of the room, curry favour.
I
What is
see.
life without the show?
Quite
Quite true.
so.
You have a lovely time, though. It truly is magnificent here. And she looks over and sees some new people entering, and she gives them a smile and a wave. Presuming you guys are more or less sated at being turned away from the important people, which is kind of one of her roles, and she curls her fingers inviting this rather sensuously dressed young halfling maiden to come over to herself, and she smiles and plays with her halo that she has on, and they start giggling to each other about the various naughty ideas that they have, given it's a I assume by this point you've realised the club is half sort of designed around being a kink establishment and half around being a
So I'd know my
Theme
way well
funhouse.
around here then.
So you would be all about this.
I'd be like, oh yes, I have
frisking
come
time.
home. Frisking time.
These are my people.
That sigh was perfect.
So I would look to the others and I'd be like, I kind of want to try out the challenges. You guys want to, while we're here, just
While we're here,
Have some
I
fun.
can take a few.
Indeed.
I'm sure it will probably help curry you favor with this Cass as well.
All right. So this one looks like they're burying this person alive. I'd be whispering to my friends at this point.
That's what it looks like. The longer you can hold your breath, the better, I think. If worse comes to worse, I could heal you. I'm not sure if that would work, though.
Oh, maybe I can hold my breath long enough.
If anyone,
So-
it's probably Alex.
So I would go over to try and
Yeah.
I would hand Gungadin off to
To me, I guess.
off to Rivalor, and I'd go over to where they're burying the other person alive,
I
and
awkwardly pet the spider.
and I'd look around for whoever's in charge of the challenge.
Yeah, you
To be like-
see a lovely-looking young man who smiles at you and waves. He's not wearing a shirt as is to be expected. He has red pants and what seems to be strapped to his back a set of large wings to give him the impression of being an incubus. And he smiles and goes, "Oh, you're coming over for the fun."
Am indeed. How does
Um,
one get a list for this?
Well, all you need to do is survive to the point of suffocation and put on a show for us all. It'd be exciting, wouldn't it? And as he says that, the person who was in there before sits upright, slowly letting the dirt fall off of themselves in a almost Dracula-esque display of emerging from his tomb. And the person looks and smiles at you, and there's a "Oh!" from around the room as people are all thoroughly and delightfully amused by this strange display.
All right. Let's put me in the ground.
Yeah, you are pretty hastily laid down, and as you are laying down, you realise that there's not that much room to bury you in dirt. It is essentially a small sarcophagus, and they start shuffling it around on you, and the incubus dress man leans down and goes for a big untoward kiss on the cheek, and then to cover your face up with the dirt.
So I would let him kiss me on the cheek, and I'd lay there still as they start to pile dirt on. I would wink and close my eyes before they throw it on.
Yep. So, could you make me a fortitude save for holding your breath?
Oh, duh.
Ooh, very fanciful, darling. And then, do you make me a will save to avoid panicking as you do start to run out of breath and you need to hold your cool? Ah, excellent. You make both of your saving throws, so do describe for me, my friend, how your character emerges from the dirt. Once
So
they
she
have
would-
held their breath for a sufficient time.
She'd be holding her breath, and then when the time started to run down and I could feel my lungs burning, she would just kind of slowly sit up and brush herself off neatly.
Excellent. You are greeted by a young woman who swans over wearing a large bunny mask, and she wraps her arms around you and starts casting a few spells to clean you up and make you look all prim and beautiful again, and she pulls you from the dirt and pecks you on the cheek with a kiss, and the incubus glances around and goes, "Ah, which of your friends are next?" As there is another.
I
just-
sort of clap with Gungadin
On your arm.
on the yeah.
She's hanging on to your shirt sleeve. And I would thank
Ultimate
everyone as I'm
fun.
climbing out, and I'd give a peck on the cheek to the bunny masked woman who pulled me out, and
Yep.
then I would reclaim Gungadin from Mervalor.
And as you're doing so, a glass of Chardonnay finds itself in your hand almost without you even realizing, as some young, strapping man swans past, an elven lad with bright green eyes and long flowing ginger hair, and he fades into the crowd as he's serving out drinks to those who need it, and people look on towards whoever's next to partake in the room's challenge and game.
I'll give it a try as well.
Excellent. So the incubus is more than happy to help you slide into the sarcophagus and start covering you up in dirt, and as just your lips remain before being sealed off, he plants a big kiss on your lips and then covers your face up with dirt, and you are stuck beneath the dirt. And if you could make me a fortitude save as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a critical success. You hold your breath for an incredible amount of time before you start to feel fatigued. And if you could give me a will save just to prevent from your coming out being a bit panicked and rushed, and just keep that fanciful air about yourself as you do so.
In addition to that, can I also make a performance roll?
Oh, you may indeed. What are you planning to do?
What would I like
Go with
to
the
do?
classic.
That's a
Go
good
with the
question.
classic. Just reach your hand out from the dirt first in like a claw way, and then
I was almost gonna do
like a zombie kind of claw your way out of the thing and roar at everyone.
Nice.
I think actually I will remove both hands, and actually one of my knees even coming up first, still, actually leaving my face still beneath it for the moment. Before then, with the start rising and with a fantastic swoosh, just kind of like wipe the dirt away from my face. Probably spraying a couple people with small pellets, but I'm sure they'll be fine.
Excellent. Give me a will save to see if you keep your cool long enough for this.
Hopefully. I think I'll hero point that one, as we do
Okay.
have a couple. And may as well you. Oh my god. Oh wait, right, yes, we're using that rule. So that's
Yes.
a 22.
That is a comfortable 22. You keep your cool. Let's see your performance roll. Oh, everyone is very impressed. There's a round of applause as the
Yes.
dirt goes everywhere, and the bunny lady rushes over and she gives you a big hug and a kiss on the cheek and starts magically cleaning you off. And some of you do realise that her magical cleaning off at this point is essentially fake, as there's a few other people in the background who are more discreetly doing it properly whilst she is doing it more performatively. And then a glass of Chardonnay finds itself into your hand, Asbet, as the beautiful ginger-haired lad just swans past again, and everything seems to go much the same as before, as the audience all seem to be looking towards Asbet with admiring eyes, and even a rather hunky-looking man with devil horns and a rough-looking pair of brown trousers and a loosely fitted, waistcoat on, starts to sort of continually eye your character up and down and give you a few smiles and winks.
Good,
I think I'll give a
Asbet.
wink back. Can I, like, judge this character up and down as if to judge his import, perhaps?
He doesn't seem... he's more or less just one of the other guests who's enjoying the show. He's not running any of the rooms or anyone of importance, but he is very attractive. As is, you notice,
Well.
almost everyone there, and almost everyone is in some state of undress, and we won't mention what's happening in some of the corners.
Gotta keep it safe for YouTube.
Right?
For the moment, still work before pleasure. I would also give the background casters a appreciative wink as well. Or nod, rather, probably.
Yeah, most of them are just dressed in clothes that makes them almost blend into the scenery. Skeletal costumes as they're up against the wall, so they're less noticeable, and one of them sort of gives you a teasing finger wave before looking towards what their next task will be.
I'd like to look around at the rest of the rooms.
Yes, so there's 2 rooms that connect onto this one as you look out towards them. One of them, at first glance inside, you see a bare stone floor and chunks of rubble, and the walls are painted as a vast wasteland and erupting volcanoes. And the next one that you glance into, you notice there's no bar there and only a collection of glass cases that stand like pillars throughout the room.
Still filled with people, I assume, right?
Oh yes, plenty of people milling around. And within the centre of each room is a person who is directing the festivities, just the same as the lovely Pharasma impersonator was in the main room you are currently in.
So I would whisper to Rivalor about the Nirvana room and trying to find that, because she pointed us there for the whereabouts of the possible Minkayans. She said that she came across goods that fell into her hands that were tools for Minkayan workers. So
I see. Then let's try the Hall of Mirrors, the glass hall first.
okay.
So that's where I head, at least.
So I would take his arm and follow him in there with Gunga Din on my other forearm.
Excellent. So, I assume the others are following?
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. So, the walls to the room as you enter are painted with capering demons of all varieties. As said, there is no bar here, and just a collection of glass cases that stand as pillars throughout the rooms. Inside each case is a bottle, surrounded by a different form of unpleasantness, be it worms, scorpions, blood, or worse. And in the centre is a gnomish woman who is dressed almost more scandalously than Shadow's character, Zalix, with a low-cut dress in a dark red, with long red opera gloves, and a beautiful short-cut red hair that just complements everything. She has the same slit up the side of her leg, and she's leaning back in a lengthy chair with one hand behind her head, and she looks towards the group as they enter, and she offers a faint smile and seems almost amused by the fact that someone else has a very similar dress to her own, if a little longer and more thigh-high on the boots.
Could I make a religion check to find out if she's representing another goddess?
Feel free to make that roll.
And so I would wiggle my fingers at her and wink and smile.
You would be aware that
should have been.
if she is representing a god, it would have to be a lesser known one, maybe an empirical lord or something, because she's not immediately recognizable to you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I would leave his side to approach and just kind of lean in a little bit. And
She leans back as you.
what seems to be the challenge of this room?
She laughs for a moment and goes, all you need to do is fetch a bottle of the high-end brandy and bring it to myself, and, well, everything in here is self-serve, but you have to reach in with bare hands and fetch the bottles out yourself. With the
Alright.
grotesqueries surrounding them, it's meant to be somewhat of a challenge.
So I would pet Gunga Din and then look around for a bottle of brandy, which I assume is in probably every case, right?
There is different drinks in different cases. Give me a society roll if you could. Oh, with that roll, you'd be able to tell probably the best drink around is the house brandy from a Woods Edge distillery that hasn't been produced for almost 16 years, although the case itself is full of what looks to be worms. Nothing too concerning compared to some of the others, which are biting insects or manure or various types of blood that surround them.
So I would look to Lyra if she's in here with us. Just wondering, I kind of motion to the worms to see if she knows anything about any kind of really bad creatures that could look like worms.
Apaku? Oh no. Did she fall asleep at her desk?
Lost.
She's gone forever.
Alright, well, she would, not seeing anything from Lyra, reach in to get the brandy.
Okay. Heading over, there's almost a murmur of silence as Molly leans forward to look, and a few people...
Our Poco is muted.
Yes. And a few people start to hush down a little as they see someone going for the one with the worm. As everyone is now quite interested, seemingly, in what looks to be one of the less challenging cases.
And do I need to roll anything to grab the bottle?
If you're reaching in, you can give me either a fortitude or a reflex save, as various numbers of worms start to attempt to gnaw their way into your bare flesh and push themselves actually inside of your body. You do manage to grab a hold of the bottle, and you can tense up your arm, and your flesh starts to actually give way, and like some of them get inside, but you pull the bottle out and you can quickly grab at the worms and pull them out of your body before they actually burrow in fully and become significantly harder to remove. And there's a excellent from Molly, and generally the room is full of people who are
I clap on
impressed.
Gungadin's carapace.
Oh,
I got
Gungadin
Gungadin.
doesn't seem to appreciate that.
I've got Gungadin, so
Oh, okay. Okay, so you got her in one arm and you're reaching in with the other.
yes.
Gotcha.
I've got Gungadin. I took her back after.
Nice.
So,
So Molly leans back in her chair, one arm languidly lazing behind her head as she eyes you up and down with an impressed smirk cast upon her features.
So I'd return and offer her the bottle with the unchewed hand.
Oh, you are very impressive, aren't you? And
Not at all. Not at all.
well, do
She-
share
she
a
is-
glass
It
with me.
looks amazing.
I know.
She is a modest woman.
And she pours herself out a glass and then pours a glass for yourself, and she plucks out 2 rocks and drops them in each of your 2 rocks in each of the glasses, and you instantly feel the cold aura coming from the rocks as it seems to replace ice in a traditional sense. And she sips of her very expensive looking brandy. Well, not often I meet someone who's willing to just stride into the House of Plains, come to my room and throw their hand at the hardest challenge and give it to me. So what are you here for?
Just to have a good time and maybe meet some influential people and possibly grease a few palms, depending on, what occurs tonight. And I would take a sip of the brandy, tasting it.
Ah, well, greasing palms is what I'm best at. My name's Molly Crimson. I run a business that spans a good amount of Precipice Quarter, East Quarter, or Eastgate, sorry, a few other neighborhoods. And the brandy itself... I've never had brandy. What the fuck does brandy taste like?
It's sweet.
Okay, it tastes
Yeah.
sweet.
That's about the best as
Okay.
I can do.
I've never had brandy. I don't know. And maybe I could
And,
order some brandy before next time I have to roleplay someone drinking it.
So, Zalix would smack her lips at the taste of it because it's so good.
Oh.
What was her name again? Just so I can write it down. I'm assuming
Molly
it was
Crimson.
Molly Crimson.
If any of you want to make a society roll, you may.
Oh, certainly.
I would like to do that as well. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I should do this blind.
Oh.
Let me. Well, okay, never mind.
Oof.
Yeah, I only have a 1. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, if the others want to give me some blind checks, that's fine.
I have a 10, so I'm gonna do that.
You do that with your 10.
The 10 seems like possible.
Ooh. Asbet, you are well aware that this woman actually runs a cockfighting ring. Rivelaw, you are somewhat more in the know and are aware that when she says business, she means she is a madam.
Ah, I see.
I do pick the good ones.
you really do. You really do. I would also.
Oh,
Or go
sorry.
ahead.
You can see into the next room. What looks to be a live griffin sort of catches your eye, but apart from that, it's mostly the walls are painted in mountains and forests, and it seems very different in decor to the current room that you're in.
I tip my hat instead of doffing it since I don't want to show my balding. Madam Crimson. And
Oh, yes. And you are?
This is my escort.
Ooh. He's handsome. How much you pay for this one?
Oh, scads, darling, scads. Although, up top, it's not so much.
I do my best to do like a dainty sort of blush or
But
kind
his
of.
body. Oh, God.
I wave my hand like a stop it kind of motion.
Well, it's good to see someone around here is getting tall men. I've been stuck with other gnomish men, and must admit a nice elven lad would not go amiss. I'll take him for a night once you're done with him.
Absolutely. What's a little sharing amongst sisters? Maybe we could have a go later.
Rivalor has become the town bicycle.
I think you mean gnomesicle. Oh, goodness.
Oh my god. Does
She would take
everyone
another-
wants to take a...
Leisurely sip of her brandy.
So, apart from greasing the wheel, what does bring you here? Because everyone starts out with, oh, you know, just here to meet some... But everyone...
I told you I'm here for a good time. I came to have a good time. My friend here is looking for some He's looking for someone who can tell him about the kobolds who've moved into the Minkayans, and she's waving and gesturing with her hand. What is that place called? The pagoda?
The Dragonfly Pagoda, darling.
Oh, thank you. Yes, the Dragonfly Pagoda.
Oh, I don't know much about that.
We heard that they've moved in some kobolds, and it was bad enough that there was Minkayans there.
Make me a diplomacy roll.
Jesus. Yikes.
Yeah. Shrugs softly and leans over to whisper to someone else in the room and gives you a smile afterwards as this young, very pretty looking elven girl starts dashing off to other rooms. And she says, I'm not too sure what you mean about things like that. I can't say kobolds are usually in my sphere of things I concern myself with, or Minkayans either. But, yes, I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. So I'll see if I can butter up some people like you say you want, and hopefully it should be a bit easier. Get the
What about this room? I know that every room is supposed to be a plane of existence. Which plane is this supposed to be?
Oh, can you not tell from the demons on the walls and the drinks, the challenges?
I can't say as I can.
Anyone can feel free to give me a religion roll if they would like to.
Rolly.
Blind DM on it. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Oh, it's the abyss itself.
This would be the abyss, darling. Realm of demons and all that.
You can see why I keep him around apart from his gorgeous body.
Well, sure, he has a fantastic body. The suit's not fitted properly to it.
Well, you spend so much on the body, you don't hardly worry about the clothing you're going to tear off later.
That seemed a perfectly fine and straight line to me. Why are you laughing? This is just to be expected at this point.
This is the
Terrible.
weirdest thing I've ever had to roleplay in my life.
And that's coming from Kiki, too.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh god. I read through this chapter and I honestly was like, it goes a complete 180 from like barghouls and rat folk and shit to like just this like in a second.
So you knew this was going to happen.
My
what are
day
you?
be so fine, then boom, horny.
Honestly, I read through this whole like section 3 times to just like the fuck. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm a very innocent person.
Sure you are. Innocent. Right. Innocent.
You're just role-playing, Kiki. You're just role-playing.
Just role playing. I'd never have sexy elf boys with halos on just walking around my house handing me liquor at random times.
You would. I would.
Sounds like regret there.
So she takes another slow sip of her brandy.
And as you're doing that, she glances over and she sees what looks to be a rather young dwarven woman, and she smiles and gives her a wave, and the dwarven lady comes over and goes, "Ah, hello, Mistress Crimson. I have something I'd like to discuss with you, and Molly glances across at the others and goes, "Oh, well, unless it's urgent, do wait till later. I'm entertaining, darling." And the dwarf does that. "Oh, okay. I'm sorry," and shies off back to whence she came.
I wiggle my fingers at the dwarven lady and smile.
She blushes and looks down.
What was that all about?
Oh, who knows? They're always one thing or another. Little hens waiting to roost. You tell me though, are you planning to entertain me all night or look around the rest of the festivities?
Well,
Darling, can we see the griffin, please?
Ugh, the griffin.
Griffin.
Oh,
In the other room? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do leave the tall blonde with me though, if you would.
She looks over to Asbit. Are you hanging out, Asbit?
I'm uncertain. I might be interested in seeing what other of these rooms are available here. They do take quite a bit of effort in their theming.
You are a very busy woman, and I will let you get back to it. I just wanted to share a little drink and say hello to the prettiest woman in the room.
Well, you'll find mirrors in other rooms, darling.
Thank you. And then I would
tops your
take
glass up
this-
with more brandy and leans back in her chair, corking it again and waving for someone to return it to its glass container for the
To the
next
worms.
person to go. Yeah, to give it a mad lad of an attempt.
I would nod to her and say thank you very much for a lovely chat, and then I would take Rivalor's arm.
I do a dainty little finger wave and allows Alex to lead me wherever she pleases.
And lead him off to where the griffin is.
Yes.
I lean in and whisper to Zalix, "So I'm your whore now."
Get used to it, bitch.
It is. You guys have gone from law-abiding people into this role way too easily.
We're just, really good undercover
The dress. I already came to the conclusion that Alex dressed in this dress is a bad thing.
Is the end of this campaign just going to be your group sitting down and saying, "Right, so let's start up this thing I've heard of called Dungeons and Dragons"? They all roll up characters.
Yes. Let's call this
Maybe
Houses and
Westerhoff.
Humans. It's a world where only humans exist. I know, sounds... What a fantasy.
What a
Boring.
weird, what a shit world.
I'm not sure I can suspend my disbelief enough for that.
No magic either. Not a single potion.
Oh, and everyone's stuck in their house.
But there's
That's
this,
why it's called Houses and Humans.
there's this
There's a
strange,
pen-
mystical thing that allows everyone to talk to each other.
The internet.
Doing this, I think Asbit would carefully watch which room they're going to, but then take a bit of a stroll around to see what the general layout is and if there's any of the primary planes or the things that seem to be missing, or if they truly have every plane represented here.
Yes, so I believe there are rooms. Can I doodle on the map? I need to find a map I can doodle on, or somewhere I can doodle on.
Can doodle in this hallway next to us.
I pull you guys over here, and I adjust these lines to big.
they thick though.
I do be looking kind of thick.
3, 4. I think it's 7. Oh goodness, that's way more rooms than I thought there were. I'm going to be here for a decade. Okay, so if you're going from room to room, 1, 4, 5, 7. Nine.
Jesus.
There we go.
They did say House of the Plains. I mean, they meant all of them.
Not so much accurately portrayed in their size. They're all roughly the same size. Listen, leave me alone.
It's okay. It's good. It's fine. It's good. We're
I'm
good.
guessing the 4 elements: the positive, the negative, the abyss was there. Would there be heaven?
So we were in the negative. We went to the abyss.
And we know
Yes.
Nirvana exists.
And we went into the Griffin's room, which I don't know which one that is.
It's impossible to write with this thing. Jesus Christ. Hello again, Lyra. How are you? Do you have a quick nap?
No, I went to get a drink because I woke up and immediately jumped on the call, so I didn't have time.
Oh, God, just make a line.
Okay.
Jesus.
Oof.
Okay, so if they're in a ring like this, then Elspeth would take off the opposite direction and just go for a brief glance around them, not too hurriedly, before meeting up again with the other pair while
I
coming
think
around.
we're in the E room. I think.
I think
Lyra's
so.
gonna just wander around and see if she can't find the maelstrom.
Okay. Oh, God.
Yeah, you missed. There was a moment we were looking for your assist.
Right then, so I'm actually going to just grab your token so I can keep track of which room you lads have wandered off towards. Oh, your tokens are way too big. Map. Right, you guys should have tokens. Just kind of align them roughly
do.
with the rooms where you guys are going. So one of
I
you,
think down here is the abyss.
the abyss
We're
was
Down the bottom.
A here.
In
We're
A.
in
Oh,
E.
A here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in A. But we went.
Yeah, but we went to E.
for the griffin.
Yes, you went to
Okay,
E for the
cool.
Griffin, and our Puku went the other direction. So I'll start with Lyra, who I assume wandered off to look for the Maelstrom plane pretty early on. So, as you wander through, seems to be a few rooms just to find this place, dashing past people and seeming less interested in what's happening in those. You end up in a room where there is a spinning multicolored lanterns painting the walls and dancing into the room in a disorientating riot of kaleidoscopic shapes. A gnome in the corner plays discordant tunes on what appear to be a pile of scrap metal. The bartender wears an entire taxidermy swan as a hat. And as you look around, you see a pair of Quadiran siblings sat in the center, smiling and waving at people and having a bit of let's say chemical creativity with various stimuli that they have access to.
Oh.
Well, this certainly feels like the maelstrom.
I'd imagine it would, yes.
I stroll over to the people in the middle, the Kadirans.
Yes, the pair of them look up at you with slightly wobbly gazes, and they smile, and one of them goes, "Oh, hello there, how are you doing?"
Quite well, yourself?
Oh, yes, very good. Yes. Are you here for anything in particular? We're obviously one of the best rooms in the area.
I'm looking for a bit of fun and entertainment before I make my way for a meeting in the Nirvana room.
Oh,
I was
well.
hoping you'd be able to help.
Well, the challenge here is always fun. We have a lovely hookah here, which is filled with a experimental compound we're experimenting with before it reaches the streets. And one of them gives you a wink as the other one waves towards it dramatically.
I'm sure this can't go wrong, can it?
They laugh, each of them, before going, well, it's hopefully going to sell reasonably well.
And I assume the challenge is to test it?
Well, yes. Obviously, try not to, panic. And one of them gives a overly smug grin.
Well, there's point of the blackened finger. I just take a swig. Why not?
Excellent. Make me a fortitude saving throw. Your character is immediately overwhelmed by hallucinations, colours melting into each other in an unshakable sense that everything in the room is actually small animals trying to devour your legs, specifically footwear, biting and gnawing at your feet and trying to climb up your legs, as it seems more and more ridiculous before your very eyes, and the effect doesn't immediately fade away. You feel like you're wobbling from side to side, and these colours continue to blend and get more and more horrific before you, and you are stupefied too, unfortunately, as the brothers watch you with an interested set of eyes and gaze from knee to head and, well, what are you seeing? How's it going? Is it fantastic? Is it everything you dreamed it would be?
It's certainly something.
Oh, well, something what? Something good, something bad? Tell me everything. We want to know.
Who let in these animals?
Oh, goodness! What do you mean animals? There's no animals.
Where is now?
They're eating my shoes. Footwear.
Oh, sit down, sit down. Just take some time. Have something else. Relax. Relax. Actually, have you heard about that new rabbit boy that was running around? And the brother looks back at the other and laughs and seems like they've been sampling too much of their own wares, and they enter a discussion that seems to go from tangent to topic to idea to thought as rapidly as they arrive, barely staying still for too long before anyone new comes up, and they offer them a dose of their new toy. Notice there's ridiculous conspiracy theories going on between some, such as well, at the moment they are completely convinced that the Algaholthus are behind everything, and the Edgewatch agents are actually masterminds of some sort of person case in the city.
What poppycock?
This. God damn it! I knew it was us.
And what's Lyra up to currently?
It was us the whole time.
We are in the room with the.
Sorry, no, Lyra.
Oh, okay.
How are they adjusting to their new state of being high as a heckin' kite?
Lyra would have found a stool, dragged it over to the person dressed up as a weird swan, and is just staring.
The swan upon their head consistently keeps trying to peck at you and bite at your nose, which obviously it isn't actually doing, makes your character look somewhat ridiculous as a glass of fresh liquor is placed before you, and another lovely lady who has a pair of mice devouring her legs wanders up and she gives you a smile.
I reach down to pet one of the rats.
Losing her shit.
As you are petting the rats on her feet, she starts to ruffle at your hair and smile at you and go, "Oh, wasn't aware people were that keen to get down on their knees in front of me, but it's not entirely unexpected. You're a pretty little thing, aren't you?" Did we find a side room?
Where did the swan go?
Looking around, you find that the man's entire head has melded with the swan now, and there's just a neck with a swan attached to the top that's looking at you going, "I don't know, man. The swan's still on my head."
My eyes go wide. I go, oh, there it is.
Eyes are already wide, I think.
Lyra's eyes are dinner plates.
Giant dark holes where your iris should be.
Just absorbing everything.
Right, Asbet, you enter into a room. As you head inside, this nearly empty room is actually notably colder than the others. Guests sit on a bare stone floor or chunks of rubble. The walls are painted with scenes of a vast wasteland and erupting volcanoes. The spherical light fixture on one wall only barely illuminates the room thanks to a dark circle of metal that eclipses. A horse skull mask obscures the bartender's face as she sits cross-legged on the floor surrounded by her bottles and a single half-full chalice.
I look somewhat askance at the chalice here that is sitting, I imagine, somewhat prominently, well, along with everything else. I'm assuming it's just sitting on the floor with the rest.
Yes, there is a elven man, that cross-legged, seemingly a bit drunk, as they have the chalice in front of them, and as you're watching, someone walks up and they chat for a short while, and they pour in their own drink into the chalice, and it mixes with whatever else is currently in there, and they take a long sip, and the person seems completely fine and amicable with it, and there's a laugh from people around the room and some well done, well done, well done. It's from those around, and the man standing up sways slightly and bows towards the elf, who gives him a smirk, and he swans over to the bar with the man with the horse skull mask, who immediately pours him a fresh new drink.
I would give the elf a respectful nod, but I think pass on to the next room for the moment.
Excellent.
Without partaking in this challenge.
The elf gives you a slight nod before going back to sipping at another drink, and as you enter into the next room, it is... the walls of this room are painted with rolling hills, pastoral forests, and floating temples. The tables, bar, and seats in the room are mostly carved to look like tree stumps and other natural phenomena, save for a raised stone dais in the centre, which has a squared-off surface inset with lit torches and you see a woman in the center, bald of head, with an eye patch upon one eye. And you know what? I even have artwork of this fine lass as she glances towards you, and she's remarkably less in a rush than anyone else. She remains pretty lazily, not in any rush to do anything at all.
I'll take a bit of a calming breath, trying to just soak in some of this energy of this room here, or at least the adornments of it, and then we'll quite unhurriedly make my way over to this woman.
Yeah, as you walk over to her, suddenly a fight breaks out upon the dais as two people start rushing towards each other and trying to pin each other to the ground the ground itself is burning, and you notice one of the two is a tiefling who is grinning wildly as he's trying to slam someone to the ground and pin them down, the other grappling against them as the human woman glances to yourself briefly, then back to the fight, and indicates towards the seat that you should sit. Hello there.
Hello. Are these fights usual here? It seems a bit out of place for the room.
Oh, the challenge to overcome the bartender themselves. Quite a thrill to watch as she talks to you but keeps her eye on the actual fight.
It's intriguing, certainly. If I might ask, which of the pair would be the bartender, or is this blatantly apparent just from apparel or the sort?
You couldn't tell immediately, but based on the fact that the fight ends with laughter more than anything else, than an applause of success, you assume it might be the tiefling as he completely destroys the challengee, and the woman has a faint smile and a laugh. Are you here for anything in particular? Not usual people walk around with such intent from room to room. You almost seem to be rushing.
I was curious as to what might be here, what all this place can offer. Unfortunately, such is a bit of a bad habit of mine, but I do think I may remain here for a time being, for a time to come.
Ah, well,
But,
welcome to Nirvana. The best room
Thank you.
around.
The only thing I wonder myself now is, do I wish to take the challenge early and then relax afterwards? Or do I wish to take it towards the end?
I would not know. What would you prefer to do?
I suppose that is as good advice as any, and I rise and make my way over to the bartender.
The bartender eyes you up and down upon approaching, and he grins. How can I help? Drink or a battering?
I'll give him a bit of a bloodthirsty grin in return. First the second, then the first.
He flexes his thick, muscular arms, and you hear a few women going, "Oh, he's so handsome," in the background, and he gives them a wink, and you suspect that he's quite the ladies' man, and the man's man. You know, he's just a person's man. And he indicates towards the stage where there is probably a few too many torches, and you realise this bartender's going to have a bit of an advantage considering he is not going to suffer from being burned by those torches, as he steps up and waves to the audience and showboats with a laugh, and almost seems like he's ready to just make a mockery of another person. Ooh, pardon me. Another person who dare stand before Cass and humiliate themselves.
I'll give it an attempt anyway, as unfazed as I can.
Yeah, standing there ready for a scrap. I believe you go first. If you want to make an athletics check to attempt to grapple and topple the bartender and pin him down, which is essentially the only requirement for the challenge that you have.
I shall indeed.
With a 14, you and him lock arms, and he's a lot harder to budge than you initially expected, and he starts to laugh with a joyous tone to himself and will in turn attempt to immediately knock you to the ground. And what is your... Did I roll as Lyra? Very peculiar gaming. I'm not Lyra.
Indeed.
Right. What is your fortitude save, my friend?
My fortitude save, it's a 15 is the DC.
Ah, excellent. Well, he is unsuccessful in pinning you to the ground, but he does stumble you back a little bit and get you almost off balance, and just before falling, you manage to arrest yourself, solidify your stance. Give me a athletics roll, I assume, as you're still attempting to pin him down? Which
Certainly,
is
yes. Oh dear.
far from a success, actually a critical failure, as he almost finds this amusing. You push all your weight against his body, and he's like a brick wall of just sexy, hairy, red muscle, before he in turn looks and attempts to grab you and just straight throw you down onto the floor with a quick body slam, which he achieves easily, pinning you down and getting you down on the floor. If you could take for me 7 damage as the fire starts to lick and burn at your skin, and make me a will save to maintain your composure, or you will unfortunately start screaming. You don't scream, and you hold it in, and there's an applause as people are, oh, she's burning, but she's not hurt. It's amazing. And even though the bartender stands up and you're free to go, a few people seem rather impressed by your composure despite the beating that you took at the hands of the bartender.
I'll put on a grin as best I can and follow him back to the bar to order a drink.
He serves you up a whatever you want on the house. He is impressed that a non-red skin could survive the fire itself without even so much as a wince.
I'll have whatever he recommends.
Probably a lovely red wine to go with the overall, theme of what he's about, and you would notice that Cass is watching you and smiling, playing with her necklace as she does so.
I thank him, and I believe I slip him a silver as just a show of appreciation.
Yeah, he looks confused for a moment that anyone would tip in this place, but with a nod waves you along your way.
I'll return back to the seat then with the drink in hand and somewhat painfully battered now that I'm at a quarter hit points. Just to recover my breath a bit.
How long do you think you guys have been in...
We took a little time because I stopped to do the first challenge where they buried me alive, and then did the second challenge where my hand was chewed up by those worms.
Yeah.
And then
Asbit did this first challenge too.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna say, as you sit down, Cass has a concerned look on her face as a thick chunk of your blonde hair just falls out and just lands on your lap.
Yes.
Oh, this is awkward.
She
I had a
raises
bit of a rough
her
time
eyebrows.
before in the getting here.
Are you just in a rush to imitate me with your hair falling out as it is? And she reaches up and twirls some of your blonde strands, then looks again concerned as it just detaches from your head easily.
Now I'm concerned as well, and I perhaps may have been infected by something. Oh dear.
She pulls her hand away. Oh. Oh dear.
Would you know of a quiet corner where I could hopefully do something about this without causing too much of a ruckus?
She stands up and starts to guide you towards one of the hallways and side rooms where you hear some things happening behind some doors of people enjoying themselves with whatever has taken their fancy of excess that day, and she lets you into a room that is more or less just a sofa tucked away in a corner.
On the off chance, I as a player don't think it'll actually work, but she is going to try it again, just heal herself, just as an attempt to see if maybe that won't put a stop to this. So a +8, let's say 22 on the magic ability thing.
Yeah, that would be enough to heal yourself with magic. And you'd gain a comfortable 15 hit points back. And as you're performing the spell and going through the rites, another thick clump of blonde hair just drifts off of your head and falls down to the ground. And at this point, it's starting to look pretty bad.
I just look at it on the ground for a moment. Gorham, curse it! I just grab as much of the hair in a hand as I can and just just be done with it and embolden myself.
What, you're just gonna pull all your hair out?
If it's going to be falling out in clumps for the next hour or whatever, may as well just get it on with.
Kiki,
I don't have anything else that can prevent.
That we'd get saving throws before the stage advanced each time.
Unfortunately, not the case with these ones.
You specifically said it last session because the rules as written don't give a saving throw.
So let's see. Let me
There's
double
no
check.
saving throw at any point for Vargul disease.
Yeah, it's ruthless.
Like, you literally can't cure it,
You can, but it's like with magic.
which none of us have.
Yeah, that's the general thing.
The only reason I took the anti-plague was because you said that we'd get saving throws.
Okay, you can make a saving throw to stop it going to the next tier, but your hair will eventually still fall out because you're in that tier 1.
Yeah, that would be a fortitude save.
Yes.
Isn't it tier 2? My small brain.
That would be a 22 then, as I did also take the anti-plague, if that applies.
Yeah,
At
that
least I'm
would
pretty sure it gives a
be
+2.
sufficient. Yeah, you should be good then. What, now you're Baldilocks?
Yeah. God damn it. Bald with acid burns, and this has been a rough half week.
Are you quite alright?
A week wasn't even halfway.
Seethe somewhat. It's nothing that's going to be improved now for the moment, so I suppose I must be. I'm unsure Well, I shall have to have someone look at it on the morrow. I think there's not much to be done this evening still.
Right,
Hello,
yes,
from
so that
one to
Cass is
another.
still
How
watching
does...
you awkwardly.
Yeah. It may have been unintended, but how do you think the look is as such?
Well, if you're trying to
Trying to
impress
keep as
me,
much
you certainly have
composure.
done it. It's quite ridiculous. I've never had someone come up and just have all their hair fall out before.
Me neither, and I would have preferred to keep it that way, but unfortunately, sometimes these things are just go as they do. My name is Asbet. It is a pleasure, I think, to meet you.
Yes, quite so. Cass, I'm a professional at what I assume you've heard of me if you're here anyway.
I have heard tell of you, yes.
Excellent. Well, what brings you here?
Well, as said before, simply the decorum part, but also I suppose while I am here and I have you, I should ask for a friend. One of my, well, a fellow tourist who is here in the city with me, though he went off to one of the other rooms, has been quite taken with the situation at the Dragonfly Pagoda. And if I had overheard before his conversation with another, you were one to, you might be one with knowledge of this? Specifically of the Minkayan workers before, and now the kobolds that have been assigned.
I'm not entirely certain, actually. I know much about that. I know there have been Minkayans that came by a few days ago, but I don't know much about them. What's it regarding? What have they been up to?
Well, as I hear tell, well, first he had mentioned in some dislike of simply how they got up to, but then the kobold they replaced him, or replaced them rather, he's been somewhat up in arms, I understand, of the general rowdiness.
Sorry, kobolds? What are you gabbering on about?
Let me see if I cannot get this straight. What I'd originally, to construct the pagoda, there had been a number of Minkayan workers, as is reasonable, I suppose. Once these went missing, however, they sought... I'm unsure. I've simply heard that they could no longer be found.
Oh. I think it's the Red Mantis. And she leans forward conspiratorially and winks at you and,
Can I make a society roll to know who the Red Mantis are?
Yes.
This should be blind. Oh well. Okay, I don't.
Yes, they're, quite exciting but scary, but I've heard of people going missing, although I did see something recently. I deal in making people disappear. I probably know a bit more than others, and she winks at you conspiratorially and closes the door. There's, been a fair few disappearances, so is there any you're looking for? Well, from one bold girl to another?
There was, in fact. I'm myself from up north, and had heard somewhat recently a wine merchant selling, I think it was ice wine that I was quite looking forward to, has gone missing. Anastasia, I believe it was, and something Corvid as her last name. Not Ulfin herself, Irisini, but nonetheless, I'd been hoping to partake in some of her wares, and was quite saddened to hear that she was not to be found.
Name doesn't ring a bell. Although I have seen someone disappear recently. I was following a Mark, young chap, and he went off into some inn. Well, I waited for him to come out and was ready to get him as he left, and he never did.
Perhaps there's more of these disappearances going on than is, frankly, quite to my liking in the city. It is a large city, and I would imagine that some amount does go on, and I give her a nod in regards to our capabilities.
She smiles.
But this is perhaps a worrying indeed. I hadn't heard of any group by the name of the Red Mantis operating in Absalom either.
Oh, they're a assassin gang. I'm so excited. The Sawtooth Blades are their mark, and I'm so excited if they are around. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Oh. That does sound intriguing. I'm somewhat new to these lands down here. We have our own... Well, assassins are a bit less common up north.
Yes,
We typically prefer things directly.
Yes. Well, that does make sense. Do rest and recover for as long as you need. What was his name? One of the fine lads that works in construction knows something about the inn in one of the other rooms, I believe.
I would be most glad to hear, as, well, my compatriot had been hoping that perhaps the Mankind workers could be returned if the Red Mantis are indeed involved and they are assassins, then this seems unlikely, but anything that I can give him as a lead, if you will.
Yes. Excellent. Well, actually, check with Reginald. He might know.
Reginald, which of the planes might this be?
Oh, he is in heaven.
Ah.
He runs a tabloid that loves to get into rumors. Maybe he'll know something about the missing people, the Minkayans and kobolds and assassins and the Dreaming Palace.
Certainly. Thank you. And thank you also for allowing me to use this room here. Perhaps I think I'll be a few minutes, but then I'll be out of your, well, perhaps not out of your hair.
She raises
as
both
it were.
of her eyebrows to an extraordinary. Very well. And she slips from the room.
Pardon my blunder.
So, the dynamic duo on the opposite side of the House of the Plain. You have entered a room with murals of impossibly high mountains and endless forests covering the walls, while marble sculptures of winged snake women curl around pillars in the corners. On one side of the room, a live griffin is chained to an artificial nest, glaring at patrons and snapping at tossed scraps, while waitstaff dressed as Callistrian clergy maintain a careful distance. In the room is a dwarven man sat upon the centre with dark skin and shorn cheeks. He has a big smile on his face and has this air of absolute superiority over everyone else in the room. He looks Riche.
So I would just gently nudge Revelor, handing him the brandy, and like motion to the dude, to the dwarf with the dark skin, who looked rich.
I take a sip of the brandy.
It's very tasty brandy. That brandy is badass.
It's very tasty. And I take note of the Callistrian faux clergy. At least I think they're faux.
Figures.
Yeah, the clergy folk. Who
They're,
each have a
I
lovely
mean,
whip at their
faux, as in
belt
like
and-
FAUX. Like they're not.
Right.
Yeah, they're not real. I would probably know because I have Callistria lore.
Mhm.
Should I roll that to determine whether they're actual?
Yeah, you can give that a roll to see if they are accurate or cosplay. They seem fairly accurate.
Do I see anyone that I would know from the Ascendant Court here?
No one that you would recognize.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Because I didn't exactly make
Yep.
a celebrated exit over there.
So I would like slink a little bit closer to Revelor. It looks like I might be intimidated by the room. I'm just looking around wide-eyed. I'm a little upset about the griffin, but I'm not letting that show.
Okay.
Why don't we talk to the nice dwarf man? He seems like he's got a challenge for us, darling.
If you think so.
The dwarf looks your way as the two of you are, I assume, approaching, and he goes, "Ah, my friends, are you here for challenge or for trade?" And he leans against his hand and waves one other hand in the air, which is covered in a ridiculous quantity of rings, the kind of quantity of rings that would make Don King blush and become envious himself.
So many rings.
So many rings.
And he whisks a drink over, which he starts to sip from, and with that almost small chuckle, he says, "I'm one of the best ever at getting anything that you need, especially animals. Such as that lovely griffin over there, or the okra jelly I got for Mr. Hendred recently. Sorry, Mr. Pratchett. Use his proper last name."
Oh, an ochre jelly.
A jelly?
Yes, he's using it for a garbage disposal and sewage system to make things easier for himself.
I suppose they're good for that, aren't they?
And I would
Quite
just
so.
pet Gungadin, kind of showing her off a little bit.
It's a very fine spider you have. What's the rate for it if you'd consider selling such a little beastie?
Oh no, never consider selling her. She's part of my family.
Oh.
And I bat my eyelashes at him.
He chuckles and crosses one of his legs, and there's a clink with each time he moves his fingers along the glass as his multiple rings make a quite almost melodic tune. Are you here for the challenge, or are you here for anything of interest then?
What's the challenge, dear sir?
Oh, is it not obvious? The griffin! Put your head in its mouth.
Oh.
And he gives you a grim look.
I think maybe I'd like to try the challenge.
Oh,
Ooh,
you're so brave,
fantastic.
darling.
Would you please hold
I
Gungadin?
I hold Gungadin and sort of fawn over Zalix.
As you approach, the priests of Callistria part before you, and the animal gives you a dark and almost hateful look.
I would look over the griffin.
It opens its mouth and seems somewhat troubled.
So I go in and give it a glare to intimidate it.
Okay. Roll me intimidation. The beast
Damn.
watches you.
All right. So she would. I assume we're putting our head in its mouth.
Yeah, its beak is wide open, sharp and terrifying.
I put my head in it.
It's a matter of seconds before your head is snugly inside that suddenly its beak clamps down around your head, holding you in place as you take 17 damage from this creature as it starts to shake its head from side to side, seeming to want to really do you a lot of damage.
For trying to intimidate it with a look.
Yeah, it's almost like intimidating it was the opposite of what you should have done.
Bad idea.
Let's bloody your token up sufficiently. Right. And I assume you will at that point attempt to get your head out from inside of this griffin's mouth.
Yes, I would like to attempt that. How?
Roll me in athletics to just try and push yourself out from being held inside of it. And, ooh, that is unlucky. And a few of the priests of Callistria start looking around now with a lot of concern as this creature sinks its teeth further and further and almost seems at this point ready to try and straight up decapitate you in front of an audience. And the dwarf is leaning forward and watching, and he has a very interested grin on his face as the priest of Callistria rapidly start moving over and pulling you free of the animal's grasp, and the animal falls back a pace, somewhat trained enough that it knows to stop when it's gone too far, and it gives you a hateful look as you are free of its...
I rush over and hold her and try and see what I basically just like panic over her.
So I'm gonna take a healing potion.
Yeah, go for it. There's a hush in the room for a short while. There's a fair bit of new blood, and then people just return to their festivities as if you don't even matter.
Which ones I have with me? Okay, potions. $1d8. 2d8 plus 5. I'm gonna take the lesser healing potion.
Okay.
Did that go through?
I do not see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Oh, there we go. So you get 3 hit points back, which would be enough to stop the bleeding.
Is that the right one?
That's what a minor healing potion does. It's not much.
It
Jesus.
said 2d8? Oh no, that was the wrong one. I said I was taking the lesser one.
Okay.
Can I just swap that out? For...
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
There you go. You are remarkably more patched up by this, and the general feel of the room slips back to more normalcy, and the dwarf is very amused by all this.
I give Alex a big hug and like, oh my darling, I was so worried about you.
No, it was gonna eat me. But that's what I get for putting my face in a griffin's mouth.
The dwarf is laughing. He thinks this is probably the funniest thing he has ever seen. Someone just shoving their head into a griffin's mouth and getting chomped on as you see other patrons approaching and, carefully stroking it and being nice, and the griffin lets them put their head in and they remain still but shaky and then take their head out a short while later. Those seem less of a rough incident.
So we see. Wow.
Laughing because I find it ridiculous that this happened.
Oh boy.
Oh, I haven't had such a good time in a long time. If we're allowed, we should totally come back here. I'm just saying this to me.
Oh my god.
Right.
I
Let's-
laugh nervously next to her.
Let's speed run back across to our favourite resident Lyra, who has high as a
Balls.
kite made best friends with, was it a swan stuck to a man's head? And you're under the effects of this. Until I say otherwise. You are rough. And I assume if Asbet is going to be continuing her rounds about the place, you two can stumble into each other, one bald and one incredibly high.
Your hair is all gone. Why are the mice eating it?
Apuku, Adisander?
I'm sorry, I had myself muted. Yes, first, damn it. I'll take 10 minutes in the room, starting off by weapon surging my fist and punching the wall in anger and fury now that I don't have someone to hold composure over. She'd put a decent bit of work in that hair. She's pretty furious at it all falling out. And then she's going to refocus and use that to try and gain her composure again, and then make her way around, meeting Lyra, heading around probably through heaven, and I imagine hell would be the other H, and the various other things in between, before rejoining the other pair.
I will
Yeah.
just bluntly ask, is Asbet bringing Lyra with her? Because otherwise, Lyra's probably a bit too far gone to go anywhere on her own.
Yes, she'd be keeping an eye out for any of the rest of the party, and seeing Lyra somewhat incapacitated would
Entranced,
escort her
right.
around. Entranced, that's a good word, yes.
At this point, Lyra probably just sees a massive, majestic swan the size of a building. Except it has 2 human hands on the end of its wings.
Oh, good
Oh
God.
my god.
That's horrifying. Why?
That's... Oh my god.
So as you collect Lyra and guide her towards the next room. It's a reasonably well-lit room with painted blue skies and bright fluffy clouds, except for the wall behind the bar, which portrays an enormous mountain. Waitstaff drift between tables wearing revealing white robes and fake feathered wings, and 1 foot high round stone pedestal stands in one corner, which currently has a rather handsome young man dressed in a devil-may-care loose white shirt with a rapier at his side, and he's telling a tale about some scandalous incident he had in the past with... You thought you misheard it at first, but you could have sworn he said a bugbear.
I'm greatly intrigued, but nonetheless, I will continue escorting Lyra further around the ring until we manage to find the other two.
Yeah. So as you continue round, you move through a room with red lanterns drenching the room in bloody light, illuminating walls painted with fiery pits and rocky crags. All of the tables are inset into waist-high pits in the floor, and the bartender stands in their own bottle-lined pit in the centre, sporting a tiefling's brow horns and a set of remarkable fake fangs and the like, with elaborate torture devices standing at the ready all around the room. And you spot a very handsome-looking young human man with blonde hair and what looks to be an eye sigil tattooed onto his chest as he answers up.
That blonde hair is mocking you.
Entering. Unironically, the hair almost looks the exact same as the one that was just lost.
Oh no.
Tragedy.
That's going to get a bit of a glare then. Yeah.
There we go. Look at that hair.
Oh man.
Look at
God.
the exact
Oh,
hair that was just lost.
Oh god.
My eyes were drawn immediately to the tattoo.
The witch starts wiggling to Lyra.
Which blinks at you.
Yes.
The eye floats out of his chest, leaving a hole, and
it just
comes
looks
over
at
and
you.
just starts stroking your hair.
You guys know what that logo is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Oh, Jesus.
His hair will get a bit of a glare, and I'll carry on around.
Hey.
Excellent. So as you continue around, I believe the next, as you enter, all the tables in this room are perfectly square and situated in a neat grid. Copper wire runs in a geometric pattern across the walls, linking together tiny glass bulbs that blink and glow, and a chalkboard on one wall holds a riddle written in large, perfect blocks. And you see a female dwarf just lazing not too far away from the chalkboard, and she watches you guys enter, walk through the room, raises some eyebrows, and then sees you finally depart into the room with Elysium, where the other two currently are, and I assume you find a bloody Zalix being fawned over by her escort.
God, yes.
She's wiping her face with a just a piece of cloth and some of the water from her water skin. And she goes back over to talk to the dwarf.
Lyra's completely convinced that you are wearing a veil.
And the veil is moving on its
Sees
own.
Asbit and her eyes go wide for a second. And looks to Lyra, who's just tripping balls, and her saucer.
The fact that Asbet's lost her hair hasn't even processed in Lyra's mind.
Lyra still sees her hair.
No, she's just focused on other things right now.
I look to Rivalor and like glance at Asbit and then back again. My eyes are like big.
We should probably check on Arena when we have the chance.
We should. I idly tug on one of my hairs. Kiki.
What, just to like flex
Just
on her? Or?
No, just to test and just to kind of like see what happens when I tug my own hair.
Yeah, everything's
Suck
fine.
it. I still have hair.
Oh, I still have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I look to the dwarf and I'm like, it's a fine animal you have.
Yes, I am excellent at procuring animals. He leans back again, still enjoying the comfort of his chair, his glass near empty, and he looks around, smiling at any attractive woman he spots, his gaze falling onto Lyra, and then moving along to find what looks to be a rather pretty elven woman with long blonde hair and legs that go for days.
Oh no, Evelyn, no!
Not Evelyn, but a very. It's not an unusual trait for an elf to be leggy.
This is very true.
You said blonde and legs, and I went, oh.
Oh no. What brought you to a place like this?
Not today, don't do it.
Blonde and legs probably is just half of all elves, if not more, both male and female. So
This is true.
And
This
Alex
is
would
true.
visibly breathe a sigh of relief as she sees the elf's face is
There's like
not
two
Evelyn.
types of elf. There's blonde with legs and ginger with legs.
And ginger legs, yes.
Like, I've yet to see the third type of elf, which is
Ravenette with legs.
yes.
Dark hair.
Legs is the common trait here, people.
Legs.
Legs
Yes,
and pointy
anyway.
ears.
Apparently, all elves have legs. A trait unfounded in any other race.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have
Zero legs anywhere else.
For a good moment, Lyra thought the elf was walking on stilts.
It was just halfling on stilts.
Those blonde halflings and their tricksy ways on stilts.
I've heard high heels described that way before.
So, I see that you got this griffin. I was just at the zoo the other day, before, that terrible incident that happened. And I was looking at their Almarov, and, I was wondering where you might procure something like that.
I wouldn't get my sources out. I could get you one. Have a costed sushi.
Whatever happened to the owner of that place, do you think?
Zoo owner?
Yeah, what was his name? Knight, I think, for the zoo name, right?
I don't know. He set up in the Precipice district. It's bad business to reclaim a lost district, my friends. Where I'm from, when the desert claims a city, you leave it to its ghost. My area is overrun by undead and monsters. The festival. Best not to go to the Precipice Quarter, especially that guard fort. Can't keep it well enough.
I know, lazy layabouts, a lot of them.
Absolutely. The most
Except
ridiculous.
for one or two. I've seen a couple who were worth their salt, but two does not make up a force.
He frowns at you as he'd started talking, spoken over him, and he looks like you've offended him in a way that goes beyond explanation. He looks at you like one would look at a piece of shit that has just appeared upon their shoe. Anything else?
Sorry, did
help
I offend you? Do you have family in the guards?
And he looks around and he smiles at someone else, and within a few seconds there's some Callistrian priests walking over and saying, into another room.
Oh, darling, there. I see our friends. Let's go. Let's go say hello. It was lovely meeting you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
I wonder if he's related to Sergeant Holo.
I wonder if we can find out.
So we go to the next room.
Yeah, the room that had the riddle upon the chalkboard. And if you take a moment to look at it, there's a lovely riddle upon it that says, "You need to transport an inevitable, a protean and a mortal to Pharasma's spire, but your magic plane shifting ring will let you take only one passenger at a time. If at any point you leave the inevitable and protean together unchaperoned, they'll kill each other. If you leave the protean and the mortal together, the protean will corrupt them. How do you get all three to the spire safely?"
I would like to do a religion check to remember what all these things are. Except for, of course, the mortal.
Of
I'm
course.
assuming Lyra would probably know what a protean is, seeing as it's related to Nethys's home plane.
Yeah.
She's tripping balls though, so is she reading?
I still have 12 intellect, because smart. Lyra is absolutely tripping, but I have enough stats, so I'd say she probably is aware. She is very much aware
It is
that she
her
is.
religion. She knows what a protean is. It's a native to the primal plane of chaos, known as the Maelstrom. They are guardians of disorder and the like. And Rivalo, with that role, you would be aware of this fact as well.
Gotcha. So, real quick, there's a protean,
Inevitable and
an
a
inevitable. And if you leave the inevitable alone with the protean,
each other.
Surely you bring the inevitable with the mortal and then bring up the protean.
Then, well, the dwarf watches as you guys seem to be having your discussions
Puzzling
about it. Yes.
puzzling over the riddle.
Or was there something mentioned about the inevitable and the mortal being together?
So, if at any point you leave the inevitable and the protean unchaperoned, they'll kill each other. But if you leave the protean and the mortal together, the protean will corrupt them.
Then the inevitable and the mortal go together.
But you can only take one at a time.
Ah.
You take over the protean first, as it cannot be alone. Then you return, leaving the protean on the other side. You take over either of the other two, the inevitable or the immortal. You leave that there. You return the protean to your origin.
You have to pick one of them.
Would I recognize the plane?
Then the inevitable.
Okay, so you... the plane for the room is Axis.
I know that, but would Lyra know that?
Yeah, Lyra's aware of her religion stuff. So you're
Okay.
taking the protean first, coming back and taking the inevitable?
So, first take over the protean.
Mm-hmm.
Return to where the other two, the inevitable and the is it mortal or immortal?
Immortal.
The mortal. Grab the mortal. Take the mortal over, but then while you're on the other side, grab the protean and return them to the original place. Grab the immortal, the inevitable, take them along and leave them with the mortal. Return empty and then bring over the protean, and such should bring over all three safely.
The dwarf woman watches you as you reason through it. You adjust her glasses, and she's done. You're the first of the fine fellows to come by to actually, take the time to reason through this and actually get very impressed.
I give a dainty sort of clap to it was Asbit that said that, right?
Yes.
Yes, I give a dainty sort of clap to Asbit.
Clap daintily as well for Asbit.
You come, take a seat, let's talk for a while, he says to Asbet, and seems less than interested in the others of the group.
Yeesh.
Lyra would still be focused on the riddle, and like about 20 seconds later would go, "Got it."
Oh god. It's what Alex says quietly to herself.
She figures it out, but like due to the just it takes so long because
She's just staring at it the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah.
her mind is
Alex-
elsewhere. She's trying so hard.
Constantly
Just
interrupted by
bless her heart.
savages.
There's a
Bless
case
her heart.
when the letters like just tend to start moving every now and again, and she has to start over. It's like, God damn it!
Oh god. So, where I
So-
would.
She sits down with Asbet and, what brings such an intelligent young woman to our establishment?
The search for a good evening and a thrill.
Oh,
It's been, there have been some rough patches, but it's been a most fascinating place.
yes.
I must confess, in regard to the riddle, I had heard something similar before, which gave me the push to arrive at the proper answer. Quite frankly, among the rest of my compatriots, the rest of them are likely more intelligent than I. But sometimes luck plays a part.
I see. Well, I do appreciate anyone who knows a good riddle. I'm nice to meet you, and don't go about telling the answer to too many people. I like to see who's actually intelligent and who's here just for the... Well,
Oh, certainly.
just
I assume not
traveling
many.
Muppet.
I assume not many think too that they can return with any one of the entities. Am I correct?
Yes, people are often very confused by such a simple solution. She glances at Lyra, who's probably just about starting to solve it now, and
Like I feel like, how obvious is it that Lyra's completely gone?
oh, pretty obvious.
Okay. I'd say if this person has an actual interest in accents, she probably wouldn't be happy with Lyra's affiliation with Maelstrom, even if she did acknowledge her intelligence.
Yeah, she's not entirely keen on you.
Maelstrom people.
Yes.
Alex is just face palming and like trying to lead Rivalor to the next room.
I would say I'll
He dutifully follows like the good little horse. he
Leaves
is.
Lyra to suss out her riddle by herself.
All right. Yes. What was your name, ma'am?
I'm Asbet. Might I ask yours?
Ah, Wilfred Stoneborough. I'm head of Stoneborough and Associates, actually, a real estate development agency. Sure, you have heard of most of what I'm really good at, which is the precipice.
I have indeed. That is where I've spent most of my time the past few weeks here.
Oh, well, I am a
Construction.
genius, so you have a logic puzzle for me?
A logic puzzle. I have a few word games, but those are not quite the same.
Oh. And she immediately seems a bit more disappointed in you.
Yes, no, I can think of but one or two, but those are rather more simplistic, unfortunately, and require some amount of drawing. I have nothing appropriate with me at hand.
Well, okay. Well, do be about your way. Hopefully someone who hasn't heard the answer before will drop by soon and actually...
Indeed. If I do think of a logic puzzle, might I be able to return to you and present it?
If one must. But, take the time, you'll probably need it.
It is possible.
She waves you away.
I'll go and
what's-
follow the others.
So you're all heading towards the lovely hell room itself with its red lanterns, and the bartenders are either tieflings with brow horns or fake ones, and everyone's sort of, all the more fun having. And in the center you see some people lying down with bare feet inside of an apparatus of wooden boards, and there's ropes being pulled and various torture devices going on, and people seem far more heavy in
Adventurous.
this room than elsewhere.
Heavy as in, like, muscular, or heavy as in...
As in, what they're interested into is straight torture.
Oh, cool. So I would head in and take a look at what maybe the challenge is.
Yeah, well, the challenge is, the man with the blonde hair is torturing someone upon a rack, smacking their feet and ankles in a motion like flapping butterfly wings, causing them to sometimes break and take significant damage. The rather handsome blonde man is just having the time of his life.
So I look to Rivalor, and I'm like, what do you think?
I'm not certain, but darling, that I have the constitution for that.
Point out the Absalom
Although,
tattoo on his chest.
I see. You know what? I'll give it a go.
The blonde seems to take his time enjoying going about the previous person, then looks as you approach and eyes you up and down. You don't seem the type to be built for my friend. Are you even local to the city? You're another tourist just coming in.
I came for the Radiant Festival, but I heard this was where the real entertainment was.
Ugh. Hordes of newcomers in Absalom. Really is getting tiring, but what can I help you with, Elf? And he crosses his arms behind his head and flexes his biceps.
What do you have on offer?
What do you mean on a... There's drinks at the bar. The challenge here, if you think you could even handle a second of it, you're not made of stern Absalom stuff. Or are you after work? Really try not to mix my times of pleasure with business. Book a meeting and come back.
What sort of work are you into?
Sorry, and what are you, beast?
An Absalonian.
He eyes you up and down. Lass, not with that accent, you're about as foreign or more so than anyone else here.
Oh, maybe I'll take a turn at your game here.
Very well. Climb on up.
So I do.
He seems more than excited to shackle you into the butterfly boots he has prepared. Starts pulling at the rope, which very rapidly and painfully starts smacking your feet and ankles at a incredible pace. If you could make me a fortitude saving throw, please. It is quite painful, actually, but you manage to keep your cool, taking 3 damage and not wincing too much. He seems to gain a begrudging amount of respect for you as a rather handsome looking man. Rides up behind Rivalor and gives him a hug, and you hear the hiss of demonic language going on. Quietly communicates to the elf, and Asbet, I assume, who has arrived by now, and Lyra each have a young, demonic-looking person. And up close, it's easy enough to see that they are painted to look demonic and not actually demons themselves. Each languidly hugging onto you and smiling.
Hello there. Can I help you, sir?
He responds in nothing but a language you do not understand, with a faint gutturalness to it to make it seem edging upon the demonic. And the human man uncuffs young Alex and looks down at her.
So, what sort of business are you into?
Make me a diplomacy roll.
Okay.
Hey.
I am in the business of building.
Bill?
My name is Westerhoff. I run this establishment.
Oh, then thank you for the wonderful time I've been having thus far.
Yes, covered in blood as you are, I'm sure you've been having a great time of it. That one over there has got burn marks on her clothes, and that one's clearly high. You and your friends seem to have been wandering to random rooms and having quite the time of it.
I don't know what my other 2 friends got up to, but I had a tussle with a griffin and spoke to a lovely woman.
I see. Well, do enjoy the festivities and get along with yourself. I have many people to...
Building, you say? My escort was looking to talk to the man in charge of workers. I think over at the Dragonfly Pagoda.
I smile sweetly, but
honestly-
still being held by the devil-looking character.
This is Chairman Hoff.
He looks
is
like
he?
he's getting a headache at this point as he watches.
I look at Rivalor pointedly.
I smile and try and wave off the devil on my back.
And I would leave them alone to talk and go over to Asbet and be like whispering to her, What happened?
The
In
human
regards,
Jeremy is watching all of this as he's apparently being handed off to an elf. And he grows increasingly frustrated at how rudely he perceives that as you start whispering to each other.
Are you okay, Asbet?
no, but is this really the time for this?
What do you suggest I do with them?
Well, clearly we are being
like
quite rude here, are we not?
He sighs before just turning away from your group and looking towards the next person who's coming towards the challenge, giving them a smile and a wave and a "How are you doing today? Enjoying the building?" It's yes, I own it actually, and seems to have completely gone off your group and be very disinterested in you.
I see.
Brave Valor.
I don't know what you. What was I supposed to say?
Anybody would have been better than me. He doesn't like outsiders. Do I look like I'm from here?
I already told him I'm a tourist. Is there anything that I would notice with a "that's odd" in here? Aside from the torture, of course.
And the not devils.
Yeah.
Nothing that leaps out to you immediately. The room seems fairly ridiculous of nature just to start with. But no, nothing leaps out to you, like, on the instant.
Well, I have you here for a moment. First, I did find a couple of things that I should probably inform you of, and then maybe I'll see if I can't get his interest with the challenge. But first off, I did speak with Cass, I believe it was, in Nirvana. She did not know a great amount of it, though she did confide that she'd heard that the Red Mantis, a group of assassins, may be behind at least some of the disappearances. Though I wouldn't put it behind her to have arranged some of the others, perhaps. But then with the amount of disappearances, in any regard,
She was in where?
In Nirvana, where we had been, I believe, Layla, was it? At the very start in the negative, had
Yes.
mentioned her.
Told us to go to Nirvana. So that's who you found there?
Yes, and she in turn pointed me towards Reginald, who is in heaven, which should be just the room next door, who would have more to do with matters of workers and the sort. While we're here, should we go to heaven first and then attempt to return, possibly give Hoff a bit of time to cool down, or...
I would like to find Hoff. I personally would like to find Hoff's office, and I lower my voice for this a lot.
I don't know if there's an office here, and I'm still whispering to you two. I would like to go talk to whoever's in Reginald, did you say?
That should be his name, yes. And
In heaven.
let's do that first and then return here, and then I might be able to...
Maybe you should return without us. I'm pointing to me and Rivalor just because I know he's not
fond of us. Yeah.
outsiders.
Well, yes, but if I return you might be able to move in and search for that office if you do think it might be in here. And if I do get to speak with Hoff, what should I be asking him in the first place?
Ask him
I'm
about the
asking-
Mincon workers and their disappearance somehow, some way. Because he's the last one who, by all accounts, should have seen them. They complained about their billeting and they were coming to talk to him specifically. And he's the one
True.
who hired on the kobolds,
The kobolds.
according to Scarix, who told us that she got met at a back door, obviously because she's a kobold and not from Absalom.
I'll see what I can do then, but first then I think heaven.
Yes, heaven first.
As
And-
your group are starting to head towards heaven, 3 people approach you, all looking fairly muscular and dressed to blend in with the other partygoers, but they hold up hands to pause you, and the one in the lead thinks, I think it's time you lot go. Please follow me to the front door.
Might we have but one more challenge, I ask of you?
No. You've left your hair all over the place. That one's obviously taken something the wrong way, and that one's covered in blood. Giving some of the other patrons the creeps with weird questions. I think it's time you go.
Very well.
Let's not make a scene. Let's go.
And they escort you to a front door, which is not too far away, tucked away in one of the corridors, and from there you are led up to a what's the term I'm looking for?
Street.
You are led up to what is a back door in a basement of an actual tavern, and then up through that, and they indicate towards the front door. Come
What's
back
the name
another
of the
night.
tavern?
The tavern is called the... Oh, Christ. I've lost it. It's somewhere near the start of the. I know it's a tavern name. I'll find it later. Mulligan's. Literally found it as I lose my temper looking for it. Mulligan's,
Oh, good.
and they tell you it's best that you go.
I think we will.
So we would go. And I'm taking deep breaths.
Yes.
And
all
I am
right.
cursing audibly.
And I am just gritting my teeth. And,
Zelix, I will give you right, at least perhaps the Vargwills might have been left for another time. God, it's all the...
the Vargles could have been left for another time. Maybe getting high could have been left for another time, I say. Maybe if we had all been together the whole time, we could have all gotten the knowledge we needed from certain people. I don't know. And she's visibly, fighting back, rage at this point. Her arms are shaking. She's gritting her teeth.
Clara was completely out of it for most of that, aka
Her
I was
eyes
AFK
are-
getting food from my Uber driver.
Her eyes are squeezed shut.
But Lyra would just sort of respond to this kind of, knowing that she was kicked out, would kind of go, when in Cheliax, do as the Cheliaxans do. Sorry, the Chelish.
The Chelish.
Why
Which
is
in
it
this case,
Chelish?
there's because Cheliaxan is too long, I guess.
Oh,
Like,
Chelish
yeah,
is the
like-
name of the ethnic group.
Lyra is now just debating the the ways, the antonyms and denonyms for Cheliax.
God.
Still make it easier to
Alex
put on a
has
wig,
stopped
at least.
full on in the middle of the road, like counting to fucking 10. 1, and she cusses as she goes, fucking 5. 7, god fucking damn it.
We have a few new leads at least. The Red Mantis.
Red Mantis, what? What does that even mean? They're assassins. Do you think we can go around and be like, hey, where's the Red Mantis assassins at?
Well, if they are assassins, then they're hired by someone almost certainly, which implies that
probably
there's some
somebody
connection and some.
May I make a religion check for what I would know on the Red Mantis?
Go for it.
Oh shit, that was public. Sorry.
So you don't know too much about the Red Mantis beyond
Oh.
what would essentially be hearsay and, boogeyman. You know what most people would know? They're a matriarchal group of assassins.
And
And that's all we got? Like, nothing about the Minkayans or where we could have found them or where maybe they were billeted? Nothing?
We know a couple other things. First, now we can more easily get to this place, and they did mention another night. So even if we wish to return as ourselves, we could do so simply tomorrow or the day after and spend the day pursuing what other leads we might be able to follow. And now we know how the place operates as well as the names.
What the
I would
fuck
not
happened to your
trust-
hair?
I don't know. I put it up to the Vargles or whatever that kiss thing or whatever did, but it just started falling out.
And I sigh. And I look over at Lyra to see if she's got her hair falling out or not, because I know they were both kissed.
Her hair seems fine.
And so I would look back to Asbet and I was like, you didn't try anything weird in there? Like, nothing?
Weird? What sort of weird? No.
No,
Not
did
that I
you
can
drink
think of.
anything strange?
No.
All right. Let's try and salvage this. So what did we actually get? You talked to Tess. What did she say exactly? And
She had heard of a couple of disappearances, especially she had heard of the Minkayans disappearing and thought of the Red Mantis specifically involved with them. I only asked her about one of the other missing people that we know about. I thought it best not to simply grill her on every single name we have. Simply the first one on the
Perils of
list and the
undercover
one.
work.
Yes.
you said she was an assassin?
That she arranges disappearances. I suspect she's probably not an assassin herself, or if so, possibly retired, but I imagine she manages several.
Probably
Though
a
she
fixer.
did,
That she was.
she had mentioned actually that she had followed someone that was supposed to be disappeared, but they disappeared before she was able to do so. So I suppose she's
Where did they
does do at least some herself. She did not state simply a pub, nor was the
I
one
perk
she
my head up at
mentioned.
this.
The one she mentioned, a boy, did not fit with any of the others that we are missing.
A boy?
A young man, I'm almost certain it was by her
I
description.
looked to Rivalor. Do you know what he looked like? And I looked back at Asbet. Did she give you a description?
I don't believe so.
And you said this was a pub that he went missing at?
I believe so.
All right.
This either way, this is clearly a den of people who do illegal things.
We knew that already, though. We knew that. That's why we came undercover and not as our selves.
And we have evidence now for it. Should we possibly inform the Eastgate Guard District and have them raid the place?
No. Sergeant Olo said not to do that because then they'll take over the case. And the lieutenant will be pissed.
And the East Guard has a bit of a reputation to it as well. It's a comfy assignment.
Great. So what was the name of this pub, was it?
Mulligans. Oh,
This pub?
No, the pub where the boy went missing.
None was mentioned.
It might have been the Tipsy Tengu.
It was out of character. It was an inn.
I know, but I'm pretty sure that Asbet does, or at least I don't think Asbet would know all of what happened there during that roleplay there.
You were there, weren't you? You were there.
This with Andrew that happened in the text RP?
No.
I'm greatly confused then.
Andrew went missing at the Tango. But
Yeah, I can't recall ever having seen or heard Andrew.
Out of character. The inn that was mentioned to you was not the Tango, where the fellow went missing.
We don't know.
Yes, we do, but we don't because
We don't know what.
Asbet can't tell me.
Asbet didn't have anything though.
Yeah, they.
It's like the name of the pub wasn't.
The name of
The
the
name
inn.
of. No, she
Okay,
didn't.
guys. Asbet was specifically told two things. She was told about the Red Mantis, and she was told that the assassin had stalked someone who had vanished at the Dreaming Palace Hotel.
Right.
If we can just
Oh,
clear
did
this
the-
confusion up and just get along with things. Is it fair? Yeah.
What's oh, damn. I had completely missed the name there.
Yeah, I missed the name too. I don't remember that being mentioned.
It was
I was
mentioned
taking-
briefly, but you were all too busy focusing on the idea of a vampire, an assassin cult around the.
All right, let's just go back to the barracks.
Go back to the station. Yeah.
Obviously, we all could use a rest. Some time to clear our heads. And I
That would
would
be
look
good.
around or figure out what happened to our hair.
Asbet's hair now, wouldn't I?
Yeah. You'd
Do I-
still be very high, though. It's only going to go away after an 8 hours.
Oh yeah,
God.
but I have like 12 intellect still.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm aware that I'm high, and like you know people can still maintain
Yeah.
function during it. It's just very little.
And
Distant.
all the things are still swimming and
Yeah.
messy looking and all that stuff.
Do I know where the nearest Nifisian church is?
Maybe
Yeah, your
Eastgate
character would
or
know
the
where the
something.
nearest church is.
I'd like to grab Asbet and just start walking towards the nearest Nifisian church.
Yeah, sure. And the
Where?
others heading back to Edgewatch?
I'm asking Lyra where they're going.
Ideally, to see a cleric.
A cleric for what?
I point at the bald head and say, "Crystal ball. Maybe they can discern some of the divinations."
Come on, Rivalor, let's go with these yahoos to go figure out what's going on with Asbit's head.
Where exactly are we headed?
I don't have a map that tells me where every single.
The pertinent thing is it in the Ascendant Court?
It would probably be in the Coins or the Ascendant Court. Yes, it would be a
One
reasonable
would probably be in the Wise Quarter.
distance away.
And the what?
The
Wise
Quarter,
Quarter?
where all the magic stuff is.
Yeah, Wise, Ascendant. It's somewhere in those regions. There's probably more than one church in the whole city
Yeah,
to her.
Probably.
I will catch up with you all later. I need to go back to the... I don't think it's a good idea for me to go to the Ascendant Court.
Why?
That's where I came from. I told you that I didn't exactly make a clean exit there. It's the reason that I'm in the Precipice Quarter and the Edgewatch now rather than the Grey Cloaks.
Well, but maybe wouldn't you know who we should probably be seeking to find out what happened to Asbit's?
They would not talk to me.
Okay, well,
There would be a Church of Abadar, certainly in the Coins, but I'm not sure of the coin as such to bother their time.
I'll just catch up with you all later.
all right. Well, I'll go back with Rivalor then, so that we're at least somewhat apart together.
Okay, so heading along to the Church of Nethys. It's not a super long trip. It'll probably take you like half an hour. Head and what is your plan when you get there?
I'd like to find a acolyte and request their assistance within the fending off of foul afflictions.
Yeah, you head
Possibly
inside and
of a more chemical-based affliction.
they look at one bald person and see the fact that, you guys look a bit rough. They've got burns and acid marks and all that shebang going on. And what happened? Do you counter some sort of acid fire spraying monster?
All of those multiple times.
In this case specifically, though, a pair of varguils, and as you can see, my hair has recently fallen out. What more might I expect, and how could I prevent this from doing whatever else it might?
He looks concerned by the revelation of gargoyles, and he seems to have an awareness of what they are, and he starts to usher you both towards the back and sit down. Oh, and I'll have to have a look at you closely. Do you have money for the spell that would be to remove the disease?
Should do.
Likely not. I have simply a few gold on me.
Well, it takes roughly 10 minutes to cast, and it has a fair cost to it.
Is there any natural way that this can be prevented or recovered from? Short of the spell, I would still gladly pay you some amount for your consultation, of course.
Well, the spell is a donation for the Church of 18 gold, each casting. But I'm certain we could arrange something special for you if you had someone
Okay, I physically can't afford that, and I'm pretty sure Asbet can't either.
sweetening the deal.
Oh, good.
Side quest?
Hello.
Side quest?
To
What might you intend? What the details might be about this?
Well, I'm interested in more information, books, knowledge, the like. If you have any to share with the church, we can usually lower the cost.
I'd like to offer up my scroll of charm.
Ooh. He looks that over, and I believe the scroll of charm is reasonable in cost. 4 or 5 gold. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but they seem interested in this the moment you present it. Yes, that's quite good. So, just for the one of you.
I believe so.
Conflicted.
Both?
Oh.
Oh.
At least I would assume we are.
He pauses and looks around. Just give me a moment. Go at... and dashes off and has a quiet, quick, hurried chat with an associate of his, and they both come back and look at the two, scratching their foreheads. And then they whisper to each other some more, and they going back and forth as if indecisive on how they want to proceed with. Have them take out a loan.
How much value would the information of the location and sort of establishment of an underground club in the undercity in the East Gate be?
There's some more murmuring between them for a moment. An underground club? What, like a speakeasy?
Yes, quite fancy one in...
More like a house of desires. That likes to mimic gods.
There's
That
some
would
more whispering
more.
between. As in... deceitfully? Pretending to be gods they are not?
Not so much that as in a titillating and intriguing fashion. I don't believe they're giving great pretenses on actually being the gods.
I see. The two whisper to each other for a bit. Well, if you could tell us where it is, we could waive the cost for such information.
I would then give them the information, the name Mulligan's, the tavern, as well as the other path that can be gotten to through the catacombs, and the general layout, as well as a few of the names of those who might be found in there.
The pair of them will cast their spell. Well, it takes them 10 minutes, and they're listening to you guys present them with the information, and they seem very interested in this. They're making notes and enraptured with all the details you're presenting them with, and they hurry along their spell a little bit, but it's of big excitement to them as you bring them in. And there's some hushed murmurings of maybe visiting later. And especially a piqued interest if you mentioned the Maelstrom.
I would have. That's why.
Yes. They're certainly into this whole... And, yeah, it would take like 10 minutes, but you would be cleaned up and good to head back to the office. Or the headquarters, so to speak.
Oh, I forgot how much blood is all over the map.
Yeah. Right, so back to HQ. Two of you will obviously have arrived a fair amount earlier. Let me make it our active map. And where are your guys' tokens? Are they on here still? Yes. Pull those back to whence they should be, so, you know, outside. It's so annoying trying to move tokens. Ignore token vision and do this. Yes, excellent. I'm learning. Slowly stop spinning right round.
I'm trying.
You'll distract the children. Right, I'll move these two just off to one side because you fine fellows are still off elsewhere.
I'm trying to zoom in.
Right, you have arrived back at the esteemed Edgewatch headquarters.
Alex is just rubbing her face as she stands outside the door for a hot minute, just pissed that they got virtually nothing. And appalled at that factoid. What even? Like, why?
Riverlo is just kind of remaining silent.
You think it was Andrew that woman was going to assassinate? And
I don't
why?
know.
Why would she, if it was him, why, though?
Make it disappear, not assassinate.
Yeah, but why disappear? Why? He's a freaking waiter who lives with a sweet little old woman who makes lemon cakes. What is the point of making him disappear?
Slavery, perhaps.
This makes her scowl excessively.
There was an Asmodean preacher I remember back in the Ascendant Court who we arrested and had already sent a ship full of halfling slaves to Cheliax. We notified Andorran's Grey Corsairs, but I don't know what became of them.
So you think that this priest is still practicing?
We arrested and imprisoned the priest, but
Okay.
it's as much as even if it's been outlawed, there's a reason it still happens.
I'm pretty much appalled that we got virtually nothing. Do you think that anyone inside would know anything about the red mantises?
If we have any records to check, we could check there.
Oh. I wonder what I did to offend that dwarf. Maybe he is related to Sergeant Ola.
I'm sure he would have been offended, regardless. He seems the type to easily take it. We need to find him. We need to drag him back here in chains.
Don't tempt me to go back as me. Don't make me put on my uniform right now. And she's looking at her feet and just like scowling, and like you can see her teeth are like clenched together.
Riverlore's grip on his cane is a lot tighter.
All right, let's
I want to change back.
go talk to Sergeant Olo and tell her what a fucking farce this was. So Alex would head in.
Mm-hmm.
As would her
Corporal
mother.
Batista, it's near the end of her rather lengthy shift, is there, and she gives you a wave as you come in. Goes, oh, welcome back. How are you doing?
We can't get through the door.
I can't zoom in. There we go. And I'm like all the way zoomed out.
Utterly failed at our tasks this evening. So it's just like all the wind is out of her sails.
Probably shouldn't have sent newbies off to do a task requiring more tact. Maybe we can talk, see if Skinny can free up some time.
Skinny probably would have done far better than any of us. At least she would have managed to not get snogged on by Vargles and hi, as Alex is waving her arms around.
Well, I am curious. What did you find out about missing people, if anything?
We heard that there's a group called the Red Mantises.
They've not been in the city for years.
They're apparently in the city now and making some people go bye-bye. And we got directed that they might be responsible for what happened to some of the missing persons that we have on our list. And also that there's a pub somewhere where a guy went in and didn't come out. Another assassin said that they were looking for this guy to come out and they didn't. So
And what pub is that?
I didn't get a name from Asbet, who was the one who spoke with this person.
I see, and where are your companions?
They went off to a temple of Nethys to see what could be done about Asbet's hair because it had all fallen out. We don't know what's happening with her.
I see.
I believe it was due to the creatures we encountered on our way through the tunnels.
Oh, we did come across a cube that tried to eat her, so there's that. It was like this jellyfish polished all these.
As well as
Well,
Yeah.
okay then. Get back into uniforms, get yourself cleaned up, wipe the blood off, and I guess report to Olo. He's not going to be too happy if you've literally gotten nothing from all this.
Yeah, thanks, Corporal. And I head off to go clean up and change back to my uniform.
And I assume the lovely Lyra and Asmet will arrive whilst the others are cleaning and getting changed. Lyra, Asmet?
Yeah.
You've arrived back at HQ, whilst the other two have gone off to actually clean themselves and, get changed and all that stuff. And what's your two's goals now that you're back?
At this point in time, considering the amount of time it would have taken to get to the Wise Quarter and back, it's probably closing on midnight or something. So, wouldn't it?
It's closer to 9:30.
Oh, okay.
Because you didn't go all the way to the Wise Quarter. You went to a church that's closer.
Oh, okay. I wasn't 100% sure on that one
There's
anymore.
probably a main church in the Wise Quarter, but there'll be smaller ones here and there around the city. It's a huge city. Not going to be one church only.
For whatever reason, I thought we were going to the Wise Quarter
That's
anyway.
okay.
In that case, yeah. If Batista's still there, then yeah, we would check in, or at the very least, Asbet would check in leading Lyra around still, who is probably still under the influence.
Lyra's like, at this point, it's probably absolutely, like, it's still there, but at this point, it's kind of like probably balanced out. Like, she's used to the fact that this is happening. She still has, like, really, like, Lyra's big brain, to put it simply. This is
Not anymore.
This is hampering it, but not enough to make her negative brain, you know what I mean? So she is definitely, like, you know, seeing shit, but she has enough brain power to go, okay, that's an hallucination. That's not right.
Okay, well, Corporal Batista looks at you two as you enter, and she has a frown on her face, which is normally very unemotive.
Are the other two back?
Yes, they're
They-
getting changed. What did you learn then? And she pulls out a note.
Where did I have my notes?
It seems like the people of the underground seem to believe that the Edgewatch is involved with the cause of the missing peoples, which isn't very good for our reputation.
Okay, yes. And any
Yes,
actual information did you get, apart from stupid rumours?
The location itself, as well as two entrances to it. I can write up a what's the word? God damn it!
The missing people! The reason you went there, what did you find out? We already know where the location is. And she
Well,
seems
that's
to be
better
becoming
told, like-
increasingly frustrated that 4 of you have come back now.
Would Asbeth have taught, like, been telling what she found to Lyra on the way back as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
yeah. I informed Zelix and Rivalor of what we had come, so you probably have already heard from them, but that the Red Mantis appears to be involved, at the very least, with the missing Minkayans. We have been unable to get further leads on most of the other missing peoples thus far, though the Red
Dreaming
Mantis is involved with some.
Was mentioned, however.
So,
As well, we do know another to which to contact who likely has further information. We were unable to achieve that in our outing today, but we are not at a dead end either.
In fact, we have 2 main leads. In fact, actually, we probably have 3.
oh yes, and your leads are?
The first is the Dreaming Palace Hotel.
Okay.
Certainly needs investigating.
That's,
The,
Hendred's place, isn't it? Hendred Pratchett?
Hendred Pritchett. Just don't quickly note that down.
I don't think any of us know that in character.
Huh?
I don't think anybody knows that in character. That's why Zalix didn't say anything about it, because she got told it was a pub and that we didn't know the name.
Okay, that's fine.
Asbeth was told the name, though.
In my defense, I was freaking out over having just lost all of my hair.
Yeah. I feel like in the time of having, like, okay, don't need to worry about this now, it's cured. Now we have a walk back. Oh, you know what they did mention? This place. You know, like, stress gone, sudden clarity of mind. I feel like it's perfectly reasonable as Bet would remember.
And your other 2
It's a lot of
leads, yes,
sense to me.
yes. Come along. I
The
have all
context,
night.
as Bet mentioned. And something I'm not sure the others may have mentioned. There was an individual at this place. Tattooed upon his chest was the mark of the Edgewatch.
I'm pretty sure that's simply the symbol of Absalom.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It's a long.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm small brain then. Ignore that. 2 leaks.
Okay, and so you think there's either a specialist cult of assassins killing stonemasons and children and families and people who are shacking up at the what was it, the zoo, or your other lead is a hotel?
The first is the information that we got from one who arranges his disappearances herself. And the other?
Ah yes, well-known, reputable source, that people who murder people.
But one that would likely know about it.
Get yourself cleaned up and see the sergeant. Oh, goodness. What we get for
Is he even
sending
still awake?
rookies.
Molo's always awake, that poor man.
Sergeant Olo hasn't slept in the past 32 years.
For real. He just constantly awake. Fucking.
God, I wish I could achieve that.
So I assume you lads are all going to be meeting up in the room where Sergeant Olo is sat down by the podium with a smile on his face. He seems like he started to relax and take some weight off.
Oh,
Sorry.
for fuck's sake.
Sorry. Me and his son, we just kept opening and closing the door. Oh.
It's Alex to open doors for me since I can't click on them.
I'll be the gentleman.
Thank you.
Well, Olo gives you for a smile as you come back. You look worse for wear, don't you all?
Oh, Sergeant, you are not going to be pleased with our adventure.
It's not an adventure, it's your job.
It was terrible.
Okay, we'll save your analysis of how it went and just tell me how it went.
We got attacked by Cube, some Vargals, and then when we got inside, we
Also
got
some normal
virtually
ghouls.
That's normal
nothing.
rules, yes.
We did save some civilians, specifically traders.
Sorry, what was that? Traders?
Yes,
Rat folk.
they were being attacked by ghouls.
Okay. Sorry, rat folk and ghouls. What does this have to do with the dungeon? The dungeon and the House of the Plains.
Those were on the way.
Okay, so the undercity's dangerous. We knew this.
We have 2 important names, and that's about it. The Red
we also-
Mantis,
Well,
the Red
let's hear them
Mantis
then.
assassins.
What? You lost your goddamn mind? The Red Mantis?
Yes, Sergeant. Red Mantis assassins.
They are apparently here in the city.
And the other name, please tell me
making
it's
people
something
disappear.
less ominous.
The Dreaming Palace Hotel.
Dreaming
what?
Palace?
And I would look over at Lyra. Where did you hear this?
Asbet.
I look at Aspen angrily.
I recalled the name coming back once. Look, I just lost all of my hair. Give me a break.
Yes, what
run
happened to
my
your
hand-
hair? You got a beard next?
Something
You
with the
copied me?
Vargals and it all. Do you see any hair on my chin?
You can
Sorry.
get some there for you. We'll make a lad of you yet.
Lad.
Maybe another time. Once I didn't have that.
What was that other name that we came across, Asbet? The person we were supposed to go talk to in heaven.
Reginald. Unfortunately, I was unable to catch a last name for him.
Well, we managed to schmooze a couple of people and pick off a bunch more, including Jeremy Hoff, who really does not like anyone who is not from Absalom.
Okay.
I could probably quite easily just put on a wig and head in there tomorrow evening.
We got
But
kicked
during
out.
the day,
We can't follow.
What did you get kicked out for?
Asking questions.
And being bloody and without hair and high. And she glances to Lara.
we got kicked out tonight, but both another day were mentioned. It's not a permanent thing as far as I'm aware, and I'm pretty sure I can get up in a way that they won't recognize me immediately, at least.
To be blunt, I'm not sure being a high is particularly that offensible in such an establishment.
It was mentioned specifically.
I think they were just trying to make additional excuses.
I agree.
Right. Dreaming Palace. Check with the proprietor. Probably be something you could find out
100
there.
Pritchard, I believe that is correct.
100.
Outfit, Rivalor, we met him. He was the gentleman who was at the Tipsy Tango the night that we sussed out those brawlers.
Was that
He was the elf gentleman in the corner with the half-orc companion.
I thought it was a halfling.
No, he was a
I thought it
half-orc.
halfling.
The halfling who
No, I mean
the place is Belfridge, I think.
Oh, was that the owner of the Tipsy Tango? I
Yes,
cannot
she
remember.
owns Tipsy Tango. The half-orc was with the elf gentleman who runs the hotel. Is that where the young man went into? And I looked to Asbet again.
That is the name, yes.
All right. So,
Well, we have another lead to pursue
yeah, we at least have a lead.
and a place to go.
Maybe he's at the Tipsy Tango, or maybe she can, maybe Belle
Is it?
can get us a meeting with him.
Is the palace at least here in the precipice quarter so we can go in our
Yes,
uniforms?
yes. It's recently renovated.
So they probably would have had construction workers there.
Yes, yes.
And I glanced to Rivalor. All right. We'll try and get more, Sergeant. We're going to go back out and try and get into this hotel and talk to the proprietor.
Well, I think it's best a lot of you take the night to rest and de-rough yourselves. I'll have to speak with the lieutenant and we'll see if we can get someone else to have a look around the place and get some more intelligence. But
Maybe Skinny would do better. Let her know that that it was probably the Red Mantis who dealt with the Minkayans.
yes,
The
yes,
ones
okay.
that are specifically of note to the lieutenant.
Will do. You guys check out the Dreaming Palace. Ooh. Meet with Hendred, was it? He should have some info. Probably lay that lead to rest, and we can focus on this. Well, I hope it is the Dreaming Palace.
Hopefully, yeah.
Here's hoping, Sergeant.
Right,
Thanks,
get
Sergeant.
your rest. And he frowns and rubs his face as he tries to think over that what he's going to do if there is an assassin cult running around randomly killing tourists.
Yep, and Zalix is walking away, rubbing her face. Just because she finds it all ridiculous.
Do you still have that knife, Zelix?
Oh yeah. Maybe we should go
Take that
get
to
stuff
Mary.
in Master Sergeant or Sergeant Major Mary.
Indeed.
Oh, that's a thought. We should probably return the clothing and such we borrowed.
Yeah, we returned ours.
Yeah, we returned ours.
Okay, yeah. So, the sergeant major will look down at the weapon. Oh yeah, thank you for bringing that upon me. Let's have a quick gander. It doesn't appear to be the same as the other, but it's awfully diluted in the other one, not with all the water. Leave it with me, and I'll work out what it is and get you an answer probably in the...
Does the blade have a? This is out of character to Kiki. Does the blade have a distinctive look to it, or is it just kind of like a random
It's just
dagger?
a regular dagger. There's nothing overly special about it.
Okay.
There's 3 of them, each with the same black fluid on them. They look,
Gotcha.
they're not ceremonial or anything. They're workhorse weapons.
Gotcha.
And she would turn in the shield as well. This is just an extra piece of kit that we picked up along the way.
Excellent. And, she'll store that in the armory if anyone wants to later use it or take it. Probably be quite good for a riot, just having an extra tower shield lying. Not that there will be a riot if a non-form.
Hopefully not a riot.
Hopefully not.
Thanks, Sergeant Major. And Alex would head off to bed.
Yeah, so
The Lord does the same.
you're all heading to bed. I think, given that we are at 4 hours now, it's a reasonably good place to call things. And Asbet, you can get changed out of your sorted equipment, regather your supplies from the armory if you wish to. Mama Mary gives Asbet a sad expression of seeing her hair. Would beckon you back into the wardrobe and take you to a little tucked away bit at the back where there are plentiful quantities of wigs.
Thank you, Mama Mary. We'll grow back, but...
Yes, take your time. Enjoy the mirrors.
Thank you. I grab 2 wigs, if I can. One, whatever I can get that's as close as possible to at least the color, not necessarily the style and the length. And then a second, a fairly different, probably rather dark brown sort of wig.
Yeah, it's not too hard to get both of those. There's plenty that are in a mid-length blonde, so you'd find something with ease, and then the brunette one would just look rather dapper on you. In that kind of way that every time you kind of go for a change of appearance, it always looks a bit refreshed and new. And one morning you'd obviously recover hit points. Lyra would no longer be seeing strange colours, and I assume the group will all have taken some time to breakfast and the like before you start the next stage of your adventure.
That sounds good.
Good, so we will be doing that next Saturday, is that correct?
As far as I know, yep.
Nice, I look forward to that. It's been exciting. I was expecting you guys to get through that a lot quicker, but I guess it is a reasonably roleplay heavy environment.
Section, yeah. That is true.
With a lot of rooms.
Yeah.
With a lot of rooms.
Didn't even get
was.
them all.
I've probably read through that whole section too many times now.
Well, it paid off, I think.
Right.
I think
so,
at least.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I guess thanks anyone who has been watching, and I hope they have a fantastic remainder of the day. My players who are all iconic legends.
We do our
Subscribe.
best.
No,
Like, subscribe.
Don't do that. Don't. It's embarrassing, but I will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
You guys want to say arrivederci?
Good night.
Arrivederci.
Mad.